storm is brewing off the coast of the continent and is continuing to grow in intensity. We will keep you posted on its status and when it's expected to make landfall.
He's dead.
Close.
For us, and we're kind of watching the pioneers here of the Pro League.
You love to see like an esport starting to blossom, like this team starting to find their footing, the meta developing. Syndicate manages to hold him, and by God, it looked like it was going to fall apart from there for a second.
Two players are on such low health and knocked down from the fall there outside of the play zone. Axino, he might finish it off for Invalidos. Can he get the booyah for his team? No!
Oh.
It's La Bahia who take their second booyah!
And he is just raining down on them. Nathan, what is even
Team
happening
Butcher,
right
that
now?
was
One member up, and he's going to go down. Flacco does it! Survives in a situation that I thought was just doomed.
Hi survivors, welcome to the Free Fire Pro Series for North America. Participants will get the chance to showcase their skills and compete for their share of the $50,000 prize pool. This inaugural season will take place across 3 months in 4 unique phases: the Open Qualifier, the Group Stage, the Last Chance Qualifier, and the Finals. Teams will accumulate points throughout each of these stages, resetting for everyone at the start of each new phase. We will kick things off in the Open Qualifier. Teams from across the entire North American region will be split into lobbies of 12 teams, where survivors will battle it out for 6 games to earn their place in the next round. Teams will be awarded points for their in-game performance, including points for their final placement in the lobby, as well as their kills throughout the games. At the end of these games, the top teams from each lobby will move on to the round of 96. This round will feature new lobbies and 6 more games for each team. The teams that finish in the top 6 for their lobby will move on to a final qualifier round of 48, after which only 24 teams will be left standing to move on to the group stage. The group stage will be comprised of a 3-week season, with 2 game days each weekend. The teams promoted from the open qualifier will be placed into 4 groups of 6 teams each. Throughout the season, these groups will be paired on game days in a round-robin format, so that each group will face off against every other group in a 12-team lobby at least once. At the conclusion of the group stage, the top 8 teams from this stage will qualify directly to the finals. The bottom 4 teams in the overall standings will be dropped from the tournament, and the remaining teams will move on to the Last Chance qualifier. The Last Chance qualifier will see the teams placed 9th through 20th from the group stage compete in their final opportunity to qualify for the finals. Their bouts will take place over the course of 2 game days, with 6 games per day, all in a final bid to earn their shot at the championship. After this intense LCQ stage, only the teams in the top 4 will be able to move on to the finals. To cap things off, our grand finals will take place over the span of 3 days, with the top 12 teams from the tournament playing 6 games every day for a grand total of 18. Here, teams must go all out to earn points and stake their claim as the inaugural Free Fire Pro Series champions. At the end of the 3 game days, the 12th finalist will receive their share of the $50,000 prize pool, and a North American champion will be crowned.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Free Fire Pro Series Grand Finals Day 2. My name is Porosaurus, and joining me on today's desk will be Hypoc. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm just glad we're this side. We've got a chance to catch our breath today after casting the games yesterday, because they were pretty full on.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. We definitely had a couple of teams that stood out above the others, but, we still got 2 days. One in particular, for sure. Yeah. We'll talk about that here in a little bit as we recap day 1, but let's take a quick look at the season outline. We'll see how we got from all the way back there to here. We started off with those open qualifiers, then we had our 3 weeks of group stage, the Last Chance qualifier, and now we are finally here in that grand final, getting ready for day number 2. Let's take a look at the prize pool, see what these guys are all playing for. You have first place will take home the chunk of that $50,000, $12,500 for themselves. And then we also have the 4 different bounties there, Hypoc.
We do indeed, yeah. So we're looking for, actually, a couple of them most likely concluded, unless we see something else. But obviously, Kill Machine. Come on, do we talk about X-Zone potentially being challenged for these? We'll have to wait and see. But I probably look towards the latter 2 of the bounties here. Those are the ones that are still definitely up in the air.
Yeah, playing for first is going to be your highest average placement, while Booyah team is going to be the most most Booyahs. Almost got me there. The most Booyahs that you collected throughout the entirety of the tournament. Kill Machine, again, will be the most overall kills. Total kills, and then Lethal Killer, most kills in a single game. So you're right, we may have that one sorted already, but we don't know for sure. Let's take a look at that overall leaderboard after day 1, and you can see a little bit more of what we're talking about. It was the Invalidos show. 68 kills, 114 points in 1 day, and that's just with 1 Booyah.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. We were talking about yesterday, their ability to still put up points even where they weren't placing necessarily high in some of the games. And also, game 1 and 2 yesterday, obviously their most explosive games out of them. But it's interesting to see here. There's obviously then a little breakout. La Bahia and Wasaka obviously at 78 and 73 points respectively. Then we have a little drop off, and that's probably where the prize pool gets a little bit interesting, because we kind of have like 2 gaps here in terms of the leaderboard.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. Wasaka and La Bahia actually having fantastic days by any measure, really, here. 78 and 73 points in a day is absolutely fantastic stuff. But, given what Invalidos was able to put together yesterday, it's just almost like it didn't even matter. It's just nuts.
It was, and actually, as we look at Laba here yesterday, one thing to credit them on is their placement, right? It was a little more, I guess, consistent, even if the average points per game was a little lower. But a couple of times, I mean, Domidio's actually having a really solid. I didn't even notice that. It was the average kills of 2.3 per game. But yeah, definitely a lot more slow and steady, I'd say, than Invalidos. And definitely towards the end of the day, when Invalidos maybe let their foot off the gas a little bit, La Bahia were able to close that gap pretty effectively.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Domidio's having a great game, 14 kills overall, obviously super high average. But the two Booyahs themselves also helping La Bahia kind of stay in this thing, right? But at the end of the day, we can't just not talk about Invalidos. I mean,
no, but the thing is, though, and this is where it comes back to consistency,
look at
right?
these numbers, man.
Yeah, I mean, the average kills is literally double, I'm pretty sure, of what La Bahia were putting up. But it goes without saying, I mean, if the trend continues from the last 2, maybe 3 games you could include in that discussion, then actually the consistency over the second day probably leans towards La Bahia closing that gap even more, right? Because it was a massive lead developed, and I think games 1 and 2 in particular, nobody else was able to really put anything up because Invalidos was sponging up so many of the points available. I mean, the way they were playing, it wasn't really placement oriented. It was more kind of very fast and loose. They were looking to just third party everything, and even in the end game, it was kind of scary to see them sacrificing position with the focus of just picking up kill points.
I mean, it's I guess the question is, can they keep that momentum going 2 days in a row? I mean, that was one of those days where everything was going right. Everything, like every fight they came out on top. They didn't lose anybody. I mean, it was nuts. I mean, well, they did lose people, but even when they were down to 2, Hypoc, it didn't matter who the 2 were. They were still going out there and finishing every game with like 9-10 kills.
I mean, you say that, but it was evident in the games where it was just Axino and Mex left, right? They were doing absolute work as a duo, but I think it was game 5 yesterday where Silence and Jury actually put up a really impressive finish to a game where it just came down to them. But yeah, it's again, not to harp on, these guys have been insane in terms of salvaging as well, where the games they couldn't position up very effectively, and their ability to still go and find kills over other teams. That was, I mean, we caught them with 2 different occasions where they won a 2v4 team fight, and they only ended up falling because of a third party.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the map rotation that we got today. Again, 6 games on the deck. Ready for today. We are going to start off on Kalahari today before switching over to Purgatory and finishing on Bermuda. It's weird because like normally you'd want to say like, okay, well, X team is better on this map or does really well on this map, and X team is a little bit worse on this one. Hopefully they'll find some more points on this other. Invalidos was good on all of them, and again across the entire day, and it felt like they had a very specific play style that they came in here wanting to do, where they sent mechs just right in their face. Like they mechs would just dive into the middle of a team, and then you'd have Jury and Silence just kind of hanging out on the outside, and then Axino would go for the flank, right? Almost every single time is how it seemed like it worked out, and it was just unstoppable.
It was, and one thing that was the highlight for me yesterday was Mex's use of the time turner. We saw him using that both very defensively and very aggressively as well. I mean, I think back to that game on the bridge yesterday where he was just literally just diving in solo almost at times, with kind of Axino playing just inside nade range. So yeah, hoping to see more of that today, Poro.
Well, we'll see if Invalidos can keep the pressure on, or if La Bahia or Wasaka. We didn't get a chance to talk about Wasaka. They had a great day yesterday too, but we are ready to get into game number 1. So let's throw it over here to casters, Clover and Twiggy.
Thank you so much, Mike. And Mike, Twiggy, really excited. As you heard, Invalidos, phenomenal day yesterday, absolutely ran away with the lobby. And as they said, the question is, can they consistently keep that momentum up today and continue to run away with it? But as we did also see, there are still a couple of teams chasing. What are your eyes on as we go into today?
Yeah, I mean, Invalidos, absolutely incredible from them. They weren't exactly a dark horse. Came 4th in the group stage, so not at the bottom of the pack whatsoever coming into this one, but absolutely came out of nowhere. massively outperformed every other team in the lobby. I'm really looking to see Club 9D get back into this one specifically, I think, because these guys, you know, they had high expectations coming out of LCQs at the very least, and I haven't seen what they were doing in the group stages. It's just not quite the performance that I was expecting from them. They really had a good first game and then dropped off after that, so I'm looking to see something a little more from them this time.
I feel the same. There's a couple of teams that coming out of the group stages or even out of the last chance qualifier, I feel like had lots of scoring opportunities, were playing really successful and aggressive game, but for whatever reason, things weren't quite working well in their favor. As we saw, they continue to fall out to to Invalides, La Bahia, a team that I've got my eyes on. And speaking of a team with eyes on right now, Club 9D are very close to Team Money to start. Wasn't really expecting a hot drop here.
Yeah, no, right on top of them, right in the middle of the map here, the sub, just looking to find anything they can. They're not quite engaging with each other just yet, but here we go. Oh, very quick, but the trade is there from Viola. They'll take one down from each side. The rest will probably come out, but Exploit is downed as well up here. Let's see if Millsy can keep his teammate alive, try and get that trade. The time turner goes down. Remember, you have to jump inside that to get that kill. Oh dear, 9D looking at, once again, another disappointing start. No, Domi trying to get back into the fight at the very least.
Yeah, you can see the damage is being done there to Team Money, but there's not quite finding the knocks. There's Rubio just continuing to flush out all of those kills. So 4 now to show for them, and a disappointing start to Club 9D. Now, obviously we're going to be going to this map again. I don't know if it was the flight path or what really indicated this shared drop spot, but we're curious to see if maybe they give themselves a little more breathing room. Now, that said, all those fights done, everybody else has some space. So we wait for that first zone to pop. I think we should be relatively good. I mean, everybody's got a nice space out. You do have Josh for Fuego out a little bit past the rest of the team who are out in Maze. It looks like he might have gone on a scouting mission while the rest of the team come back in from the edge. So other than that, we haven't seen too much movement yet for these teams.
A lot of the teams are going to be playing it slower to begin with, warm up into this one. I mean, we saw La Bahia yesterday were very much kind of the TV dinner, as I called them, of the teams, in that, started off very slowly, warmed up towards the end of the match, and now they're number 2 right up in the top of that leaderboard. So maybe we'll see something similar from a lot of these teams here. On the flip side, though, Wasaka, we just saw then, they were performing very well to begin with, didn't quite perform as much as we'd want towards the end. I think Bermuda was their best map, but that's right at the end of today, so we might just see, a warm-up from them.
Yeah, Spectral finishing up loot here for Osaka. All eyes continuously on this team as well. Right now in the middle of the pack, but as you heard Hypox say, there's a little bit of a drop-off between a couple of teams. So for those that are, not necessarily right there behind Invaliditos, there's still a lot of opportunity for movement today to jump up on the leaderboard, play catch-up, and potentially work their way up into the top 3. So something that we are kind of keeping an eye on, teams that didn't quite have the scoring opportunities, scoring chances of yesterday. And a part of that, again, became from Invalidios sucking up all the kills out of the lobby. So I feel like if you're one of those teams that is in the chase today, potentially you might want to try and take care of them as early as possible so you can give yourself get some of those kills.
Yeah, I mean, one day after this does mean that this is kind of going to be the crunch time for a lot of these teams. Team Money, actually, one of the teams that was lower down on the leaderboard in contention with Club 9D down there. So those are a big first few picks from them. Definitely on the sub, but it looks like we've got the kill leaders pushing forward onto their position. In Valados, they are moving towards the sub. I don't think they've quite spotted out Team Money yet, but they are in the same location now, and Team Money is going to have to be incredibly careful about that one because they want to maximize as many points as they can today to go into tomorrow with the best chance of getting towards that prize money range. It's really going to be looking to get up into that, at the very least, the top kind of 8 teams there.
There we go. We can see Mex, the rest of the team right now, have a good high ground position. I mean, just look out down below. There's so many players and teams you can just see off on the horizon. So circle, very center, no reason really for anybody to move just yet. But that next circle, 2, which will pop here in just a little bit, will start to push teams closer. And speaking of teams getting a little bit closer, got some repositioning here with Saka. Like having the high ground here on La Bahia, but quite engaging into a fight just yet.
Yeah, and this is one of the teams that came out of the last chance qualifiers. Remember, these guys weren't one of the highest kind of expectations in this, but they did come out swinging yesterday and looking towards the top of the leaderboard now, maybe very confident. It looks like they're sticking towards the middle of the map, sitting in Refinery. That's one of those places you get in towards. Oh, here we go. We've got a fight. R15 and Laonu. And it looks like R15 is going to see them first, take some shots, but in the meantime, there is a lot of hard cover to sit behind. Prince takes a grenade straight to the face. Will he take a second one? It doesn't matter, because Kelvin is right behind the rest of the R15 team. Takes down one and takes down two as well. Very difficult now for R15 to get back into this fight. We've got one player on low health, two on the floor, just trying to defend their position, and it's using the glue walls to stick themselves into this corner, but now three players are down. Doba, the last player left of the team, and the flushes come out. Arez trying to get back up, and they will get two players back up alive. Decathy just trying to get up over the wall, sprays down one of the Laonu members. Mario on the floor, and Milo is the only one left. They've turned it on their heads. Pushing forward for another kill. Will they finish it off? That's Doba down. Oh no, it's a 1v1, sorry.
You gotta love it. I mean, like, perfect use of the camouflage as well, as you can see, just waiting for that res to come up onto Dalba, but it looks like Okathy is actually just gonna pull out of this situation. We really gotta give credit there to Milo for using the glue walls as a high ground, right? Getting both of them just kind of crunched up together to jump on top of it, and then have that vantage point on R16 or R15, excuse me, to turn that back in their favor. Because see, Decathy is just gonna go ahead and pull back away, try and play that late game, and maybe look for some later kills. They still have two on the board. Not the worst rough start, but speaking of teams with rough starts, Skullbreakers did not have a good day yesterday, and right now, starting to look a little bit similar. So they're struggling to get across the waterway here and fight for the high ground against Osaka.
Yeah, Skullbreak is another one of these teams that really needs to start getting these points. Mid-table right now, the time turner committed from Osaka. Get them out of that position, and it looks like Skullbreakers, they do have the low ground. It's not going to be easy to push these guys off of this hard cover on top of the hill. You know, maybe want to regroup and try and find a different angle to come at this one from if you are going to go for this fight. Osaka definitely with the better position to finish off this fight, but Skullbreakers just looking for that opening, you know, maybe we can get up this hillside without getting shot at, we can start to throw up some glue walls. Not looking like they have many of those to work with though, so might be best to back off at this point. We're going for a scouting mission for Maxima here.
I mean, nothing scouting like a good bush here. And so you can see, though, Maxima kind of got a little bit of that information, but did pull back to the rest of his team, saying, you know, this might not yet be the play just yet. You could see Spectral and the rest of Osaka really using as much cover as they can, not make themselves too vulnerable, but try and scout out all that information. And there you go. 500 is going to spot out one member of Skullbreakers. The damage in. Meanwhile, as this fight's closing out, you can see Decathy wrapping back up to the north of this, but the circle is going to pop. Hard shift towards command post. So Decathy might be able to get back away from this fight, but between Osaka and Skullbreakers, they are going to have to wrap this up quickly.
Yeah, just trying to get those flashes before they move forward into the next ring, but I mean, it's going to be so difficult to do that, looking at Wasaka and Mabahi just holding Refinery down there, and that's going to be the first place you need to move into, so well, I don't know that yet. Of course, that's a little bit of, you know, we're privileged with that information. Nade goes out to the glue wall. Nobody's behind it. They're just going to have to run away from this one. Both Skullbreakers and Osaka just can't afford to lose too many players at this point in time. So Osaka definitely don't want to commit to that fight. Skullbreakers know they'll probably need to move on in just a little bit as well. I think they see Osaka running away. They're going to just push forward, get the loot that's left over, and then head forward into the ring themselves.
And I mean, this is honestly the smart play, because again, one of the hardest things when you get these edge fights is knowing when enough is enough, because you don't want to waste too much time and resources and then get into the zone so late, not only taking damage from the blue, but at the same time, you know, running the risk of not knowing who's inside the next circle waiting for you. So on the edge of zone here, Team Money still on that 4-kill streak, and we see IT Official gonna be one of the first teams to set up just on the outside of command post. Not quite committing to a full city send just yet, waiting for that next circle to pop.
IT Official, one of the high expectations teams, as well as Fuego, who are right next to them. Neither team just about getting up into that kind of top 3. I think IT Official currently number 4 right now, just not quite punching up to the scoreline of the top 3 teams at the moment. This is really going to be the moment that they want to try and just get a nice game in, just start the day off really well, and they can carry that momentum forward into the next few games today and then maybe into tomorrow as well. You just want to set yourself up nicely for this. In this first game, I think most teams are playing it quite conservatively for that exact reason.
Yeah, I mean, IT officials were coming into this as one of the more top fraggies at Sanji. I think being one of the more impressive players that we've been watching this series. Whenever they're out on the field, we typically see his name in the top kills. So to see them start off day one and I believe is sub 20 or so, exactly 20 kills. A little bit of an underperformance from what we expect. But again, part of that did come from the fact that Invalidos just completely melted through and dominated the lobby. But 32 players still alive, 10 teams still alive. And as you said, teams playing this one a little more conservative, a little careful. So trying to get a good read on what the flavor, what the style of the lobby is going to be today and how aggressive some of these teams are. But Wasaka still holding onto that high ground, keeping a watchful eye on that gatekeep as teams start to come in. Skullbreakers have been spotted.
Yeah, and they are in a difficult position because that ring is going to start moving soon enough. They now know that they can't move too far forward. That next ring is right behind the Wasaka defenses. The shots firing down upon them from high ground. It's going to make it so difficult to move anywhere. They just have a little bit of hard cover left to use. But they're going to have to use that to full effect because getting past that next point is really going to be the difficult part for them. Oh, at Invalidos, they found their first victims in Team Money, and they're going to already knock two. That's one flush as well from Silence. That's you know, a great start to a game that has been hampered quite badly by Invalidos there for Team Money.
Yeah, you see Jury getting the kill there, but Xeno continuing that push on as well. Team Money getting forced now into command post along with IT official. Not a sandwich that you really want to be a part of. But you see Patrona right now going to greet them along the edge and try to see if they can maybe get a side vantage point. Call the rest of the information to the team MVPs. A similar situation now following Patrona for that little +1 help. And this is also a really good reposition from them. It's going to take them a little more central without quite giving up that command post location.
Yeah, IT official went in for that little third party, but I think they actually got caught in the crossfire of Invalidos there because they have picked up another kill, and that was on the IT official player. Team Money as well managing to take one down. So now IT official down to 2 players, same as Team Money, and Invalidos just taking over the whole of command post, you know, square meter by square meter. They're just making sure they have the positional advantage. And I mean, they're guarding the edge of that ring. Just let's see if anybody is walking in. No, that means everybody is in command post with us. Now we can push out the players. A grenade falls in towards Viola, and that's going to be another Team Money member down and flush there from Silence. Ouch.
It looks like Invalidos now taking that move onto this circle. I think a big issue here right now for them is the fact that they have been circle chasing the last few zones, but at the same time, that's really allotted them some scoring chances because they're chasing behind teams and they're winning the fights thus far. So with another member of IT official, 2 members, excuse me, Patrona and MVP still alive, still up on the second story there. We can see there for the final corner compound there in command post. You can see play for Invalidos. They are going to throw out some grenades to start, but after we get past this, even if they win the fight from IT official, they do run the risk of being caught out in the open from all the other teams like Fuego and like La Bahia.
Yeah, now trying to move up the hill, that last ring in an awkward place, just on the edge of command post, but right on the top of this hill as well. Team Money will be finished off by Fuego, actually by R15 it looks like. Last remaining member of R15 taking them down, but it's Fuego that are firing upon Osaka from command post, just trying to keep them from getting up on top of this one, but hiding behind a cactus. No! 2 teams hounding down on him, nowhere he could go at all. Osaka now moving in towards this last zone, and they're going to engage in a very quick firefight with La Bahia. Rosero is already knocked down, but the rest of the team flanking around the edge of the La Bahia players, trying to get something done before they can flush all of their members. It's just Antonio left, and oh, everybody is getting finished immediately. Oh, this is not looking good for Wasaka.
You can see that the glue walls really went up there for La Bahia to try to keep them up alive, and it did manage to keep 4, but the last little time turner there is a final shield. It's not going to be enough, though. They're going to get taken down. La Bahia sitting on 5 kills. The circle has shifted once again. Fuego, first ones to step their foot in the circle, but you can see that pressure coming onto Velitos. That is actually Mex. One of the first that tried to escape. Didn't quite work that way, so they pulled back and trying to get a different escape route there to go wrapping around north, actually, outside of the command post, but they've been spotted. Axel taking those shots. It's connecting, no knocks just yet.
Yeah, here it is, the final ring, and it's quite rare that we have so many teams in this final ring. Yesterday's games finished up so quickly. We've got almost 3 full teams here in this in the 5th ring. Sorry, not the last ring. I mean, it's a little further than that, but it is looking like the last ring with the fervency of the fights going on right now. Fuego just hiding behind. Oh, that's such an unfortunate knock. Domidios just firing down from on top, and it looks like they've got a great angle on the Fuego players, and it doesn't look like La Bahia are going to be engaging in this fight until this, Invalidos are going to be engaging in the fight until this is over, but it's a lovely grenade going back up from Uziel to take down Domidios. He's going to be able to be rezzed. Obviously, the high ground gives you a nice hard cover, but it's Invalidos now who are going to get involved.
You can see right now they're starting to run out of space on that high ground. I think the hopes that the fighting on the lower ground is going to wrap up quicker than it had, but still, kill feed lighting up with La Bahia. Circle is closing in the ring, taking down players here. You can see it is actually 4 still up for La Bahia, and they are just quite literally shooting fish in a barrel. Domiditos doesn't need to come down from the rock face just yet. It looks like the circle is all but going to be theirs. Lows. Gonna hold on to it. That is it. The ring closed out, and we've got our very first booyah of the day.
Yeah, Fuego just about getting to the end of that one, but it's La Bahia that are going to reassert their dominance after that game. You know, we didn't see them quite get into yesterday until the end, so maybe they're taking that momentum, running with it. Maybe they got a little complacent before we started off the finals today, but they've really, really brought it back. That game was really clean from them, just stealing that win from Invalidos at the end.
And I mean, again, obviously we're looking at those scoring chances that some of those teams were able to take a nice, good spread, and we'll get to see the kills just a little bit as we take a harder look at the match leaderboard. But for right now, phenomenal start, as you see, except for La Bahia that just needed to work to play catch up. But enough from us, we're going to throw it back to the desk and see what they had to say about that first match. So, Poro, Hypok, take it away.
And just like that, La Bahia gets their 3rd victory of the grand finals in a very different way than we've become used to seeing. They get a circle win.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I was talking about the consistency here. They find late game again. Again, carrying off some of that momentum, I guess, from yesterday. It's interesting to see. I mean, we talked about this while we were watching the game. Invalidos playing that almost a little slower towards the end than maybe we were used to yesterday. I don't know. Again, whether or not this is they've just let their foot off the gas a little bit, but that's the sort of situation there where I think actually it comes down to the last 5 teams or so. And Invalidos maybe get caught up. This was actually beautiful. Use for the global. I know Clover noticed this here, but really, really good use there to actually turn this team fight around. But yeah, it was just a little strange to see Invalidos not pick a team and try and run through them, honestly, Poro.
Yeah, it seemed like they were a little bit hesitant to make a push, especially running through Foundation or running through the city and kind of fighting in between buildings. That doesn't seem to be their bread and butter. Like they like to go after the teams that are caught out in the middle of the open somewhere.
Like we're seeing here, right?
Yeah.
They were getting really, really active. They spotted a couple of teams in rotation, and there was no hesitation. It was they set up, they got a knock, they were trying to follow up on every single piece of damage there. That nade was actually insane, by the way, the bounce off the ridge up onto the high ground. But even here, I mean, they effectively just get locked out of this end game by, I don't want to say sitting too late on the edge, but not picking one of these teams to engage on.
Yeah, and obviously fantastic stuff for La Bahia. 19 points, 7 kills to go along with their 3rd victory. But you see, Invalidos, 3rd place, still get 15 points, 7 kills.
Yeah.
So how can La Bahia catch up with Invalidos with the way they're playing?
Well, this is what we're talking about at the top of the show, right? Invalidos, basically, they can underperform by their own standards, right, for the next few games. And that gap is still going to be, unless somebody comes out and finds a 20 kill banger or something like that, that gap will remain. I mean, here, La Bahia are only making 4 points ground on them, which is crazy to think that whilst chasing that win, Invalidos can still just coast through some of these games and maintain.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could see that La Bahia has definitely had a very specific play style that they played the same all through group stages, all through and now into the grand finals. They loot up early. They don't get involved in any early fights if they can avoid it. And they just send all 4 to the center, find center circle, and then they just wait and do area control. And that's how they get a few kills here and there, but they get a lot of wins. They're so good at getting those wins, getting 4 to the late game, but they're not getting the same amount of kills. So if you're trying to play catch up to a team like Invalidos, who's sitting there on, God, how many kills do they even have at this point? I mean, it's what, 38 kills for 38 for La Bahia, but they're trying to catch up to Invalidos, who's got 75 kills.
Yeah.
I mean, can you do that by getting can you just rely on placement points like that?
You want the short answer?
Sure, let's get it.
No. It's going to be tough. La Bahia, again, consistency is great, but if they want to challenge for that top spot, they're going to need a couple of real pop-off games.
Yeah.
Again, the other thing to consider, if you see Invalidos, fighting early game or going down, or potentially going out early in here, that's when you want to see the kind of the green light flick on. And then really, really take some of these games into their own hands. But again, you can't take away from it now. 3 booyahs, a decent kill count if we look at the rest of the leaderboard.
Yeah.
It's almost you say that through gritted teeth, but it's that's a real credit, a testament to how they're performing regardless.
No, absolutely. I mean, La Bahia has been putting up a fantastic performance, and this is the same kind of performance we saw out of them during the group stages, right? This is what got them here, is this very specific, distinct playstyle that they have mastered. And were it not for the fact that Invalidos is just a streaking comet across the sky on that leaderboard, we'd be talking all about La Bahia right now and their consistency. But the fact remains, though, you do have Invalidos in the lobby, and you do have Invalidos with 129 points, 70 plus odd kills. So, I mean, I think if you're La Bahia, you need to start being a little bit more proactive while you have the time, and hope that maybe Invalidos, maybe the comet burns out a little bit.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Capitalizing on these games where again, it feels awkward because you're sacrificing kind of, your early to mid game positioning in terms of hunter. I mean, one thing we saw Invalidos do really well yesterday was by the time Circle 2, Circle 3 transitions coming through, they've got 8 kills. So then you make it to late game, and it's almost at that point where it's a completely different objective, right? You don't necessarily have to worry about fighting for the center of circle towards the end game. You can just literally farm kills. And more often than not, if you're in that position in the end game where, there's 2 or 3 other teams that are desperate to pick up these placement points, they're playing to survive, and there's a team on the field playing to literally kill everyone. So it's a real stark contrast.
Well, a lot of decision making to be done here for La Bahia, and we'll also see if Invalidos keep the comet burning. So far through one game in day 2, it's looking pretty good. But we are ready to head into game number 2 with your casters, Clover and Twiggy.
There you go, Twiggy. As you heard them say, I mean, not a bad game by any means for La Bahia, but again, the story remains is that they're still allowing scoring chances, kill chances, and those late game performances for Invalidos. So going into this next match, obviously, there's a couple other teams to think about. We had Wasaka up a little bit late, a little bit more scoring chances for them as well. Who are your eyes on to maybe step it up for this next game?
I mean, we really didn't, as Poro and Hypoc were talking about, we really didn't see the kind of really super aggressive running through teams like a steam train play that we saw from Invalidos yesterday. It just wasn't the same. They did incredibly well. They got their kills, but they just didn't really keep that lead, maintain the 40 or so point lead they have over La Bahia so far, or that they did after yesterday at the very least. They just didn't keep that up that game. So I'm looking to see something very similar in this one. At the very least, rotate more, go through some more teams. It looks like they're dropping on top of Club 9D, so maybe that'll be some easy picking. No, they're gonna go off to confinement. But either way, that's the kind of thing. You set an expectation after the first day. You need to try and keep that up if you want to keep that massive lead that you had ending the day.
Mm-hmm. I do have a bit of a hot drop here in the high loot area. Looks like Onu a little bit late on the ground, but they've got high ground positioning out here in Ridge. So let's see if they can get their loot up quickly. Whether or not they're going to take the engagement or choose to break off, there's still a little bit of breathing room in this area should both teams want not to engage, but you could already see a little bit of chaos there. Minia a little slow on some of that loot, and I think a little bit scared to overextend themselves out. Prince using walls, trying to see if they can spot out any information. Esteban doing a bit of the same.
Yeah, both teams definitely acutely aware of each other. They just don't know exactly how they want to take this engagement. You know, the players are spread so far across. There we go. We've got a nice angle on Prince. I don't think Prince knows exactly where Esteban is, but at the same time, you don't want to start an engagement in an area that you could get traded upon, or you're away from your teammates. Like, you can see how far these Northblood players are split from each other. You can see 2 on each side. Maybe that's a great idea to go for that pinch on the players, but when they're on top of a hill, difficult to go for that pinch and get the timing right.
Mm-hmm. You can see Minia holding back, trying to hold anchor, see if they got any of that information. We've got ourselves a tiny little bush going on a scouting mission, but the shots coming out right now. Milo repositioning. Prince is going to get knocked by Esteban. That position that you called out, he was holding out earlier, but Onu not going too crazy just yet. As I say that, though, here comes the push. And B trying to get that knock air onto Kelvin.
Yeah. Gonna chase him around. Kelvin trying to run away, trying to get a nice position so he can... Oh, got around the corner and returned fire on Elite. Looks like he might go for another one. No, Elite's going to be able to heal up at the very least, but you know, that knock onto Prince made it quite difficult for Laona. You can see they still haven't been able to get to the top of that roof and get him up. So it's more about fighting the rest of the Northblood players and then bringing the fight to them instead of bringing back up your defenses. It's not going to work though. Northblood, they will keep all players alive. Took a lot of damage for their troubles, but they're well away from every other team on the map, so they'll be able to regroup, you know, revamp their attack into the rest of the game. So it's a nice 4 kills for them.
Meanwhile, we were a little curious earlier what was going on with Club 9D. A couple of teams landed out in the area, and you can see them very aware of the fact that they had some neighbors taking a very northerly rotation, but this is also a good position for that high ground, can kind of give them that scouting information for any other teams that might be just to the south of them. But as we see where the circle is going, still good center position. Not too many teams need to rotate just to start, but Wasaka in the center yet again there for Refinery. La Bahia starting to approach out for that position, wanting those those middle of the map cryo compounds, but being a little bit careful not to lose any players early on.
Yeah, through the group stage, we actually kind of picked up on the La Bahia really like to stay in the middle of you know, the ring. You know, always Refinery is going to be in the middle of that first ring at the very least. So you know, that's I think probably a little frustrating for them that Wasaka are getting there first every time so far. Twice now they have done that. It's got to be a little frustrating for them not to get the position they want at the start of this game, and maybe that is you know, one of the contributing factors that meant that they couldn't just you know, open last game with some quick kills. But there we go, third partying IT official. I was waiting for them to start returning some fire before I acknowledged it. So there we go, 1 player down, very nice. The trailing player of Northblood. And they're going to actually have to deal with 3 players now getting away from that one.
And Sanji, again, another player that we've been keeping a bit of pressure, a little bit of expectations on to see performance. Now, IT did kind of pull in a little bit of magic the previous game, but didn't quite work out, unfortunately, as they had that engagement up to command. So a little slow right now on the rotation as they wait for the ring to get a little bit more closer. I think they're going to take this one careful and try and see if they can keep 4 up on the late game, but someone who's not being careful right now and on the hunt for the kills. Got a little bit of mountain goating right now as they look to take the high ground and maybe get a little bit of farming there onto R15, who looks to be getting ready to reposition. But I mean, you got to be a little bit nervous if you're any team that's close to Invalidos right now.
Yeah, shall I make the Miley Cyrus reference again? Yeah, as we watch Silence try and get up the hill? Maybe beating a dead horse. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, R15 got to be very scared of that, and the headshot from Jury is going to make that a little more difficult. But the headshot right back from Decathy onto Jury. I mean, they get probably a little bit of time to get that res up at the very least. It's a good defensive play getting that trade, being able to get back onto that one. Lovely. Both players do get that res, but now it's really going to be about... Well, I mean, Invalidos have now had that warning shot fired at them. You know, R15 do have the better position. It's going to be difficult to push in on them, but this is what we know Invalidos for so far this finals. Maybe they really should be taking that fight, pushing it. We know they can win the fights.
Mm-hmm. I almost wonder maybe even if the last match got into their heads a little bit, wondering if they can be just a tiny bit more careful in keeping the entire team up until the late game. It's still only ring 1, not overextending just yet. And at the same time as well, both teams barely in the zone. R15 actually going to be the first to cross into the circles. So I think an interesting call for them. And again, I mean, Club 9D, this is the third team that did land in that area, very quick to wrap away from that. They actually have a really nice positioning to the north. There's not really too many teams out in the area. Down to the south, you do have Skull Breakers, but this allots them some good rotations depending on where that next circle pops.
Yeah. I think 9D here are actually going to be very, very thankful that for once, for probably the first time in I'm pretty sure about 5 games at this point, they have not hot dropped straight onto somebody else and been taken down pretty much in the first fight of the game. It's very nice for them that they're able to actually get a lot of resources for themselves, get some nice rotations, and maybe fortify an area for themselves for the first time in what seems like forever for them. You know, they've been doing so well through the group stage, and we saw this kind of thing, and I had them on my radar as one of these teams that might come through this one, you know, swinging, but they've found it so difficult to get into these games so far.
You can see as well, Osaka is kind of holding their position, waiting to see where that next circle pops. Not a bad place to be. Skullbreaker's actually taking a hard rotation down to the south. Take them right there into Northblood, so do be a bit careful. Everybody else just about centered up, and speaking of centered up, that next circle holding strong onto a finery. Osaka still in the center of the circle. Fuego also in a good position here. So for all the teams on the edge now, I think we're about to see multiple fights pop off as teams try to get into the zone.
Team Money coming up from the southwest there. Looked like they were firing some shots up at Osaka. Just trying to dethrone these guys from Refinery, where they've just made it their little castle, their little mansion up in the middle of the map. Maybe not quite a mansion. I don't know what the real estate value of Refinery would be. I feel like that's like a busy area. A lot of noise pollution. Probably not.
I mean, it's 2021. The housing market's a little bit crazy right now. I'm sure it's still worth something.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Northblood, they're looking to make something worth happen from Skullbreakers here, who I think they know that Northblood are on their way at the very least. We've got one scouting in Elite 7, and the rest of the team is flanking around the south there, the southeast, it looks like. And some shots are being fired. That is at Northblood players, so maybe Elite 7 can make something of this flank here.
And you can see, meanwhile, Esteban scouting ahead for the rest of Northblood as they try to get the edge mostly cleared out. You can see Elite making sure that Skullbreakers aren't pulling back in this direction as well, as they are going to be completely moved on from this point. So interesting play for the edge, right? Making sure absolutely that they have nobody behind them so they can focus on the fight forward. But I mean, it's just this crazy wrap from Club 9D right now. They've just about covered a quarter of the map. The problem now is that's taken them right into the clutches of Elite. I think Elite figured the situation out, is going to go ahead and pull away from this, but now is kind of a little bit of a fight for the East. We've got a lot of teams in this area, so while the Club 9D did take this big wrap to avoid conflict, can't avoid it for much longer.
Yeah, I think they have spotted Elite 7 moving away. You saw them pulling their guns out at the very least. I don't know if they're going to be able to get a clean shot off on him while he's running away at this point, but in the meantime, the rest of the Northblood players, they have actually gotten themselves stuck inside a hangar. Skullbreakers. Oh, no, there we go. They found Elite 7. The glue walls go down. They're just all going to rush it at the same time. This is the risk you run inherently by leaving one of your players, on a flanking position. They're just going to fire those shotguns, 4 in the face. There's not much you can do at that point. Elite 7 is down. That brings Northblood down to 2 players, and it gives 9D their first kill in what seems like quite a few games.
And I'm already spotting into Skullbreakers. It is actually going to be a secondary fight that pops up. And speaking of another fight that's also popping off, IT Official Invalidos trying to tackle the same compound here. You can see IT Official with the high ground up on the rooftops, having a couple knocks. Mechs just about flushed out. There we go. Kill confirms. It's 3 right now for IT. So not a good start for Invalidos. But this is really what you need. You want to take them out early before they can get scoring chances, especially if you're one of those teams right now that's on the chase.
Yeah, what is happening with Invalidos? They go for a fight, and suddenly, immediately, 2 players taken down. Almost no damage onto the IT Official side. One nade onto Sanji there did do a bit of damage, but not able to get any kind of return on that investment. And Forward goes Tremble, just going to be taken down in time. That was a lot of health with that shotgun blast. But it looks like the res is going to come out from Sanji. The finish will come out onto Axino, just denying Invalidos here of any kills whatsoever. IT Official, they're going to be moving well up into that contention for, third, fourth place at this point. And Invalidos, they're going to be starting to, slip down those ranks. They had such a big gap moving into the finals here, and it's just slipping away from them now.
You can't discount Jury just yet. Did get that knock onto MVP's Trimble, trying to see if they can spot him out, but I mean, look at the movement. Jury just not stopping at all. Is completely glue-walled every entrance, give himself that opportunity to breathe and heal back up, waiting for this push to come in from IQ. Once again, another glue wall comes back up, but he is going to get spotted. Sanji picking up the kill. That's 5 now for IT Official, 3 for Sanji. And now, speaking of the circle, things moving in, Team Money, Skullbreakers, Northblood, Club 9D, all of the teams that have kind of been wrapping around this eastern side finally coming into one another.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of engagements happening. Club 9D have found it difficult to get towards this ring here. I think, Skullbreakers have been kind of holding them down. Team Money incumbent on the north side of these teams as well. They're just trying to keep Skullbreakers away, and it looks like everybody's just having a difficult time getting in. Look there, Joan doesn't get into the ring. Knocked out by the play zone, finished off there. Only 2 members left of Club 9D over towards Refinery. They're going to be fighting Wasaka very soon, but it's Team Money and Skullbreakers that are trying to make their way in as well. It's just looking so difficult. Skullbreakers, they're going to go for the push now.
Right now, Cuba being a little bit cautious watching the corner. Did spot out Rubio. To pop that time turner for a bit of his shield, but not quite. Taking that fight to center. Being very careful. The problem, though, Circle not in this area. Getting ready to move. But there you go. Good shooting right now onto Team Money, but the knocks aren't coming out just yet. Nothing's connecting. Rubio in one final peek here. It actually is going to get a knock. It is going to be Maxima gets taken down now as well, and you can see it is just player after player being melted into, as this party's also being third-partied by Fuego.
Yeah. Oh, this is difficult now. Team Money, it looks like they're going to come out worse for wear off this one. 1 player left alive, but Skullbreakers, they need to keep moving as well, and they're just going to be moving straight basically into the line of fire of Fuego, of Club 9D, of Wasaka if they go any further than that. And all of these teams that have already got these nice positions, they're capitalizing on this perfectly. Look at the kill feed lighting up with all these different teams that have just been holding down their positions now. Wasaka have got a bunch onto R15, onto Team Money, La Bahia as they've been moving forward, but La Bahia are returning fire. Fuego are going to try and keep away. Skullbreakers and IT Official here, but it's really just all of these fights are popping off at once.
Fuego right now sitting on 6 kills, all that high ground, trying to melt into anybody they can. La Bahia, meanwhile, this has been a long-going fight versus Wasaka, and with both solos in the area, they can't entirely focus all their efforts into La Bahia just yet, because La Bahia really doesn't have anywhere else to go. Pushed up against the wall, glue walls are out, and they've got to push towards the zone. So this fight really needing to pop off for just now. Meanwhile, Skullbreakers taking the high ground up against Fuego. Shots out from Cuba, but no knocks just yet. And there you go, the push coming out from La Bahia. But look, Rosero right there above him on the high ground.
Yeah, it looks like, once again, Fuego has just worked out a good location to get into that. Oh, that's a lovely shot from Abru to take down the last player from Club 9D. Just a nice position to get into this last, 2-3 rings at this point. It's just working out so well for them. Wasaka is eliminated there by La Bahia now. They've won that fight once again for the middle of the map. And now it's 4 teams left. Skullbreakers with 2, La Bahia with 3, Fuego with 4, IT Official with 1.
You can see Fuego are going to send Uziel up to the bottom of the rock face. It'll be a little bit hard to take this climb, but I want to try to secure any vulnerabilities. La Bahia getting that healing, trying to prepare for this final fight. But you can see shotties are out right now. They've got to keep that pressure there on to Fuego. And you can't discount just yet. There's still that final solo up for IT Official Patrona, but he has been spotted. Shots in, but the knock just not here yet. But speaking of knocks, La Bahia completely eliminated there by Fuego. 9 kills, getting the recoveries. You can see the res is coming out, but Patrona's got a nade, and it is gonna land.
And he's just trying to finish off the rest of the Fuego side. Oh, it's not quite going to happen. That was very close, but IT Official just taken out at the end. Fuego, they're going to cement their place as the Kings of Kalahari at the end there. getting all of those kills they needed to, and a brilliant defense of that last couple rings there.
Absolutely. I mean, just a phenomenal game for quite a few teams that racked up a lot of kills. But as you say, I think 9, maybe 10 kills there for Fuego at the end. We'll get a second look at that here in just a second. But just a phenomenal showing, as you say, finishing up Kalahari today. And also kudos to those teams for taking out Invalidos early, because that did a lot of those teams a bit of a breather and also a bit of a way to pick up some points for this match.
Yeah, okay, well, it's going to be almost... No, sorry, hold on. Yes, it's going to be time to throw it to the analysts now. We're going to throw it back to Hypoc and Poro, so thank you once again. We're going to be moving into our next map soon, but take it away.
2 games in the books, and now Invalidos finding themselves out a little bit early, opened things up a bit, and now Fuego. 2 games in a row now for Fuego that they have kind of popped off here, and they get the win here in game number 2, Hypoc.
Yeah, really, really well earned. Honestly, that end game pretty tricky, I guess, to prioritize positioning on. But that's exactly what you see. I mean, we talked about this in the previous segment. Invalidos go down, and you look toward the list of three, maybe 4 teams that you want to see capitalize on that opportunity, and this is a perfect example of that, Poro.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about what happens when the meteoric performance of Invalidos starts slowing down a bit. Or can they keep up this pace? And I mean, they were able to do pretty well there in game number 1. Managed to collect, what was it, 15 points, 7 kills. They were looking pretty good. This time around, though, it's starting to slow down as they ran into IT Official. And man, this late game was pretty wonky here. Wasaka loving. Usually, if you're on this map, you see Refinery. Chances are Wasaka's got the high ground, La Bahia's got the low ground, and chances are you're going to see one of those teams in the end game.
Yeah, but the important thing to note here, the fact that La Bahia took so long with that team fight, there was a moment where actually we were commented on Fuego maybe leaving it a little too late, right?
Yeah.
Or at least missing that window of opportunity. But they come through, I mean, scrape through, actually, because it got pretty interesting at the end there with 2 or 3 knocks.
Yeah, it got a little dicey there for a second. Patrona doing his best to try to make things a little bit more difficult there, but Fuego does end up coming out on top. 10 kills, 22 points, which is going to be huge for them. They were sitting around that 4th place spot, or a little bit lower. Actually, I think that puts them into 4th.
Yeah, on the day, I think that puts them at 38 total, which is an amazing start. Like I said, with Invalidos not necessarily keeping track with the peak of their performance. This is another team that has the potential to close the gap and already making a little bit of a jump with that second game.
Great performance in there. There you see Jeremy and Abreu going to have 4 kills apiece. Uziel Sanji and Domidios, 3 kills apiece for them. It's weird, man. It's weird not seeing an Invalidos player up on that top 5. But there's your overall leaderboard. Look, La Bahia. It's getting close, man.
It is. I mean, that means that they've literally made up, quick math, I think about 20 points in terms of the gap now. Which first 2 games, you can't ask for much more, right? This is where that consistency really is going to pay dividends for them.
Yeah, I mean, that was always the issue, right? We were going to be wondering if Invalidos would be able to keep at the pace, and when they slow down, who's going to be the one to catch up? La Bahia, that consistency starting to pay off in their favor. Wasaka still holding on to that 3rd place spot as well through really good consistency. I mean, high placements. The kill count's not really there for Wasaka just yet, but they keep finding the late game.
No, and actually looking at it, yeah, it's 29 kills and still to be put at 91 points overall is actually really, really impressive. If, again, they're able to have just 1 or 2 pop-off games, maybe bring themselves a little more in line, I guess, towards La Bahia in terms of the kills. Actually, they're looking in a really solid position, Poro.
Yeah, this so far today, at least through 2 games, it's definitely looked like a lot more parity in the lobby. It looks like the lobby is a lot more kind of even, as it were. As with our top 4 teams so far today, our top couple of teams really have been kind of further down on the leaderboard. You're seeing Skullbreaker get double-digit points. Our 15 official starting to pick things up. Team Money as well. So all these teams that were kind of sitting towards the bottom half of the leaderboard after day 1 starting to really pick things up here in day number 2. And the fact that Invalidos is having a little bit of a slow start so far is kind of opening things up.
Yeah, just actually to come back to Skullbait, I think they have 75% of yesterday's points already. So that's
Yeah.
definitely a step in the right direction. Again, it's where the prize pool kind of cutoff splits down towards the bottom. There's still a lot of movement there, right? I mean, from Osaka really to 9D, you're talking 13 points.
Yeah, we are about to switch over. I believe we're switching over to Purgatory. Yeah, we're closing out on Bermuda today. So Purgatory was the map that Invalidos had, well, their first victory, and they kind of got the snowball rolling on Purgatory yesterday. Do we think that maybe they turned things around, or is this the real Invalidos, or is yesterday the real Invalidos?
Well, this is the interesting discussion, right? Is whether or not, I mean, I was talking about them potentially letting their foot off the gas. Really, if they just fizzled out, right? They burned too bright at the start of yesterday, and it takes a lot to maintain that. Not necessarily the performance, but the pace at which they were playing for us. So maybe this is becoming more indicative of the longer term Invalidos.
Well, I mean, they don't need to have, it's not like they need another 114-point day. I mean, a 70-point day will do just fine. We'll see if they can right the ship here as we switch over to Purgatory with your casters, Clover and Twiggy.
Thank you so much, Poro and Hypoc. And I used to say, I mean, another 114-point day is totally possible, but La Bahia really closing in that gap. Now, earlier we got to see a graphic that showed everybody's top 3, who we thought was going to do the best performance. And I think a big thing that I really noticed is almost every single person picked La Bahia as the team that they thought was going to run away. And one of the words we heard them say was consistency for the play. So as we're getting ready to go in the third game today, what is the consistency that you're looking for Teams Twiggy?
Well, this is really the map, I think, where, first off, Invalidos, this was their best map by a long way. First and second in the 2 games we played yesterday, and a total of 23 kills on Purgatory just yesterday. So, 33, sorry. I misspoke. I was 10 off. 33 kills for them over the 2 maps of Purgatory yesterday. So this is, we kicked it off with a big start for these guys. 33 kills, an average placement of 1.5. So absolutely incredible from them, and this is where they got most of their points. And this was not the best map for La Bahia. La Bahia came 7th and 1st, but only 5 kills over the 2 maps for those guys. So maybe this is going to be where Invalidos pick back up. Like we finished off yesterday on Kalahari, Invalidos, they didn't do too well on that map. So maybe that is just their weakest map. Maybe we'll see them come back into this one.
And something too that kind of been really interesting to me is that R15 has once again found themselves in a bit of a busy landing spot to drop. But both teams, look at this. I mean, Team Money wasted no time. They picked up their fists, they ran, they went for the coast, and R15 actually doing a bit of the same. They're like, you know what? No. We need to focus on kills. Let's not lose somebody early. We're already on the edge of the circle. And something, too, about this map. I mean, we've got the 3 islands. And water is such a prime location. We do oftentimes see teams jump for the center, try to play, the ability to wrap around different places. Now, the high ground is obviously here. This is where Team Money loved to play in the group stages, where they love to play even when we get to that queue. And unfortunately, it's also a place where we saw them get punished quite a bit. So Mountain Go being up the side of this mountain, not too terribly uncomfortable for that position. But the things to keep now in mind is that knowing those next rotations, right? Being in that place where you can be as center to the river that cuts through, so that depending on where that circle goes, you kind of have that freedom of movement. And I think that that's been the struggle for a lot of teams on this map, is the fact that they sometimes come into that a little bit later without the knowledge to really come into that rotation without being punished.
Yeah, getting caught off in the wrong place can really, really be the not just the end of a couple players and then you can get away and survive with 2 left and try and come back into the game. It can really there's not much chance you're not going to all get picked off if you get in the wrong location on this map. And it looks like, well, it seems like R15 and Team Money are magnets to each other here, or magnets to trouble at the very least, because IT Official, they're also moving on towards Bestia here. See if they can pick that first kill off. I don't think R15 Official, they are aware of IT at all, but IT, they're fully aware of Bestia. They'll immediately take him down. The finish is there straight away. The rest of R15 well over to the other side of Mount Villa here. Just makes it that much more difficult to punish IT Official for getting that first kill. Now they have the hard cover. Sorry, Team Money moving around the side. They might try and third party this one, but R15 Official, there's not much they can do about it.
No, I mean, if anything, that might be good for IT that R15 is kind of feeling the pressure from Team Money because that's going to push them back away. I'm not sure if they read the situation, got that information. We can see Dalen just about to get caught out there from Viola, but Team Money focusing on closing the gap right now. Guns out, shots out, but Blue Walls just saving them. The knocks out here just yet, or as they say that, Dalen going down there from Rubio.
Yeah, and I'm thinking Team Money are thinking right now, what were R15 running from? Here's what they were running from. Here comes Patrona around the side of the mountain. Fuego firing shots down on top of Team Money now, and it's not quite enough, but they are going to be able to get those knocks eventually. IT official pushing forward. Oh, can they? Oh, no. Team Money looking like they were going to try and really re-enter that fight, but they're going to survive with one player left. Move well away with the remaining player of R15 official as well as IT finish off the rest of their members.
Yeah, because it almost ended poorly for IT official. They were able to get that res off, but it came at the loss of Sanji, and now Viola just barely chasing up Decathy. You can see that glue wall going up. We've got 2 mountain goats, but look at the mini map just behind us. IT official's not going to let them get away for free.
Yep, that's going to be the end of Decathy there. And that's just about that done. I think Viola just thinking, you know what, let's get one more for our troubles before our 15 official comes and hounds us down once again. In the meantime, Invalidos, they're moving in towards Skullbreakers, trying to regain just a form of that that form that they had yesterday on Purgatory, looking for this first team, and they're just going to try and barrel through them like they did before, and it's looking, we're seeing flashes of what we saw yesterday from Invalidos. They get that first pick, but there's one in trade with the grenade from Maxima. That's going to make it difficult for them to keep up this fight. The glue walls are great from Skullbreakers to keep them away, but Clubber is going to be taken down by these guys now, and it's Invalidos that take away the fight. They will finish off Skullbreaker. That's 4 kills for them at the start of the game, and it's much more like what we were seeing yesterday.
I see the res came out, Jury picked back up, so they will come out of this fight 4 strong. They need to recover some of the resources, but on the flip side of this, we saw it a little bit in the kill feed. La Bahia down to just 2. They've got 3 kills to show for all their work, but not the kind of start you really want to follow a performance like they saw last match. Now, given where the circle is, it did actually hard shift to the east, so everybody else out near golf course needing to work their way in a zone. You can see La Onu also has 1 player up to the far south, working their way towards Lumbermill, and Wasaka finally coming off Moat House, as they're going to have free reign of the north. So kind of looking at this, it is a lot of movement for some of those teams, but you run the gambit as well as a couple of the teams in the chase fighting in early. And again, my eyes go to Invalidos. After having a 0-point game like last match, you know that they're looking to make up the grounds, especially with La Bahia in the chase.
Yeah, but look at that. Viola there from Team Money. Things go from bad to worse. I think, you know, the term from the frying pan into the fire comes to mind as stuck on the edge of this mountain. IT official holding down, you know, the close range engagement, and then you still have to keep running all the way across the map. It's really going to be a test of cardio to get into that zone moving forward, and the amount of teams that they're going to have to come through on that west side of the map trying to get in is there's so many teams on that side of the map that they're going to have to get through just to get to the ring, and it's just going to take minutes and minutes off the time. They're still going to be fighting against the zone. If they get into one engagement, Viola here, they're going to be taken out probably.
Meanwhile as well, see just off in the distance, IT official. We've all but left Viola alone. At this point, too, 4 kills, 3 still alive, holding on to the edge. I mean, keeping an eye on where the zone is going. They've got ways to work for. They've got to cross over the water as well. My fear is that this is going to be the team that runs into Invalidos next, and they are actually, I believe Invalidos might actually be in the chase here.
It's looking like it. They're just trying to follow them down here. I do see them, I think, on top of that mountain. Not quite sure. Either way, every team trying to move into the new locations, just trying to get towards a nice zone for themselves. You can see Invalidos well split up, and it looks like they're much more confident now, actually, on Purgatory moving into this one. You can see the distance they have between each player over towards Golf Course here. They're not really that scared that a team is going to jump on top of them, finish them off. With a large open space, you can kind of see where every team is. Well, IT official now trying to move. They've got a long way to run. That's a long, long haul.
You know, it almost seems a little bit crazy to me that they put this much time and effort into chasing down the final member of Team Money. And you can see, I mean, maybe it was even resources getting a bit of the loot out of that final body, but they can take that wrap. I think the play might be actually to go across towards Central. Again, the problem is this team right here crossing the bridge ahead of them, now in a good potential spot to gatekeep IT official.
Yeah, this is a lovely position here, and you can just see that. I mean, once again, moving forward quite happily. I don't think they know. Yeah, no, they don't know IT official are there. They were looking off towards the west, which is not quite where IT official are. They're towards the south compared to these guys, but I mean, they're going to be able to get full control, I think, of Central here. Oh, IT official do see them. Oh no, that's not a good position. No, they're not going to open fire yet, though. They do. No, I mean, they still have the ring to worry about. Look at how long they have to go, even before they get out the ring. So I don't think they want to engage in a fight before. But first off, man disadvantage. You're running 3 versus 4 here, and then second off, they've got a better position on the ring. You know, they're going to be able to just walk backwards into it while you're fighting them. You're putting down glue walls. You can't move forward, and you're constantly taking damage.
I can see right now, Jury holding back just a little bit, but I mean, yeah, as you say, Invalidos right now, all eyes running for the zone, and the circle most likely will hard shift away. It's actually not too bad. We still got some water into play, as well as the bridge. IT don't have too far to run, but it still doesn't look like Invalidos has looked back in their direction just yet. They're focused on the zone. I think, you know, as you called it, they may not be aware of their presence, but like we've got a fight now popping off between Club 9D well as Osaka. We see Osaka still holding on to that hilltop. High ground, good glue wall from Johan. Just looking for a good sniping opportunity, get that opening knock, and maybe take that fight just a little bit close quarters.
Yeah, Club 9D really having something to prove now, right down on the bottom of the leaderboard. Osaka sitting quite pretty in the middle of the table right now. So really trying to take down one of these teams. I think, although they did just take a shot from behind, I think that was Invalidos on the bridge. I think took one shot onto them, which kind of bugged them out a little bit. But now they're quite happy to move forward into the Osaka players. Let's see if they can spot them out before Lols does here. Lols is going to walk out. No, not going to go for the shot, but try and regroup with the rest of the team. Not a lot of cover to work with here for Osaka. They're going to have to be very careful with how they play this as Club 9D move in towards them. The grenades are thrown on top of the tents here. The Time Turn is committed to try and stop them from getting all the way in. Bush down, but Joan is going to be taken out. No trade available onto Spectral. They're trying to get some more, but that nade is perfect from Millsy. It's going to take down Spectral, but wrapping around the other side, 500 from Osaka trying to take down Millsy, who blocks himself in with the glue walls. 2 players down now on Club 9D, and it looks like Osaka are running away with this fight. Just 1 player left, and that'll be Club 9D eliminated once again, just inside of the points range, but absolutely no kill points for them.
You can see as well, set up there for Invalidos. And work on that recovery after losing mech. Still 4 kills on the board. At the same time, though, it actually looks... I'm going to take a quick look at the map. It actually really looks like the only team that I think is the most center position is Osaka. So Invalidos kind of have that option ahead of them, right? Do they want to push this position, try to hold this center prio for the way the circles have been closing? Or do they want to continue to farm on the edge? It's been one more places they've been more successful at finding those kills, well as keeping that eye on IT official, who, above, in my opinion, against all odds, managed to stay up and alive in the shadows of Invalidos and found themselves in a good position for the zone to start.
Yeah, staying out of the radar of them at the very least. They still know exactly where they are. You can see MVP's just looking up onto the top of the hill here. Patrona and Tremble following up, and it looks like they just want to, yeah, as you said, live in the shadows of Invalidos here. It seems like good luck follows them on this map, and maybe they'll just want to follow that good luck all the way to the pot of gold at the end. Invalidos just scouting out Osaka now. Just waiting to see if they can get some good position here. There's still not a lot of cover to work with in these later stages. Gamatron eliminated? Did it just say there? What happened to Gamatron? Osaka have lost a member. Oh well, they've at least very much got the zone to themselves over at the north there. The airdrop moving in past them. That's going to be right down on top of Invalidos. It looks like they're just holding these positions for now. There's no real reason to push outside of where they are. Everybody is quite happy with their positions on top of other members. Laonu is moving around towards the south. They're going to try and maybe third-party whatever happens between IT Official and Invalidos here, but IT Official moving around towards the west. They might actually find this last R15 player who has just stayed alive from the start of the game by himself. Dauda from, you know, the jaws of defeat in the hands of Team Money and IT Official. It looks like somehow IT Official have caught up with this final member of R15.
And a good position now from Petroni. I mean, you talk about the final member there of R15, Dauba. Keeping their heads down, not a bad play in this regard. I mean, hoping that people forget about you and maybe finding that surprise kill later on, as well as racking up placement points. R15 sitting on 0 right now, so it's a good mindset to go into this final fight. But speaking of good mindsets to have, you can see Invalidos taking out shots and, again, doing that bullying along the edge that we were curious about to see if that would potentially happen.
Shots fired down from Invalidos. They have the high ground on Laonu, who were moving around towards the south to try and maybe take out IT Official, but it looks like with IT Official moving on from that position, it's now just garnered them the attention of Invalidos, who even with the man disadvantage, could have a field day on these guys. But Dauba has moved past them, and the car is down. Now using the glue walls to try and just stay away from them. Trying to stay away from IT Official has run straight into Laonu, hiding behind a rock now. But that's actually made it quite difficult for Laonu, because Invalidos still firing down on top of them from the bridge. It looks like somehow the last R15 official player has actually just completely distracted Laonu from the pressing matter at hand, which is the kill-leading team jumping down on top of them from high ground, running around corners. Prince is the last player to just try and hold this down, and oh, it's not going to happen. Wow. Laonu eliminated, and Invalidos keeping all 3 players alive. It's just IT Official now who are trying a third party. That's the problem for them.
Yeah, the big problem is, you say, IT Official third party right now, sitting on 9 kills. They wasted absolutely no time, so Invalidos did get that res. You can see them wrapping along the hillside, trying to stay up on the high ground and not let IT Official get the jump on them just yet. But Krona picking up a little bit of loot, found what's left of the glue walls from this fight and trying to push in close, but again, not being too vulnerable. Now, issue though, Invalidos wrapping away from that position, wrapping them right here into Asaka.
Yeah, now everything is coming to a head. As you can see, Wasaka, Invalidos, and IT Official all moving towards each other, probably completely unawares of exactly the precise location of each other, just trying to stay away from the other teams, have somehow moved into almost the exact same position as each other. IT Official are going to be looking for a field day now, as Invalidos are pinched between Wasaka and IT Official, just trying to hold off both angles, but Jury is already down, Silence is going to be knocked as well, and it's just Axino left, the kill leader of, the whole lobby, but that's not going to happen. Wasaka finishes him off, and somehow, Wasaka have come out well on top of this one. IT Official just trying to stave off the Osaka onslaught from the Tensei.
And you can see Petrona still keeping that pressure, that nade. And that distance, is going to land, do some damage. And not quite find the knock just yet, though. Grow0 taken down, and with that goes Wasaka. MVPs pulling back to help out teammates. Get that res off. Keep them 3 up. 12 kills right now for IT Official. Meanwhile, La Bahia on the edge of zone, starting to third party into this, getting those flushes onto Wasaka. I'm going to send one into the circle. You can see Glows hanging back. I'm just trying to keep a watchful eye on what's happening there with IT Official, as well as Osaka. It's actually kind of an interesting trade. Just about everybody does have eyes on each other, but now if you're IT Official, you don't really have a lot of opportunities for where to push into the zone without taking out one of these 2 teams.
Yeah, Osaka have a very nice location to the south. La Bahia taking full control of the middle of this ring. They're just going to try and push out every single player here and try and make sure nobody gets into safety at the very least. But IT Official, they're going to hedge their bets and push in towards La Bahia. They know they have a man advantage on both teams. It's more about, if both teams gang up on them, it's a 4v3. Every team vying for control of one corner of this ring. I mean, down here, Kyrox is trying to stave off attacks from both IT Official and Osaka at the same time. Looks like they've kind of ganged up on the Bahia, but that's a brilliant nade onto Tremble. Patrona, in the meantime, has thrown a grenade onto Loz, and it's the love triangle of Free Fire now, as 500, the only player left on Osaka. Grenades firing down on top of him. Kyrox is going to be able to heal up, but it's IT Official who just looks slightly stronger than either of these teams as they move in.
AC right now. The moving in is exactly what's happening now. Osaka eliminated, spotted out by Glows. Patrona and IT Official can turn all their attention now to what's left of La Bahia. The push comes to shove right now. MVPs Tremble on the killing spree, and Booyah here for game number 3. Love to see. It was just an exciting ending.
Yeah, IT Official doing incredibly well to rotate through every team. I mean, just following a team pretty much through the whole game. I mean, they had Team Money at first, and then R15 Official, they managed to third party on. They were following Invalidos for the whole game, and then just, I mean, it was literally just them hunting down every single team. Very reminiscent of what we saw from Invalidos yesterday.
Well, guys, we're going to throw it back to the desk, let them break down this match, see what they have to say. So, Hypoc, Poro, take it away.
IT Official returning to the form that got them here. We saw this this running down, chasing up, getting involved in every single fight. That was what got them here in the last chance qualifier series, and it finds them their first win here in the grand finals. Hypoc, not a bad game for them boys.
Yeah, it was. Actually, just looking at it on the day, they'd already accrued 25 points, so it's fantastic to see them kind of carry on from that. I think actually with that game, they're almost level pegging with what they achieved yesterday overall. Which is kind of crazy to consider, really, with only being the first half of day 2 so far. Shout out to Patrona as well. Just individually, that was such a strong game from him.
Yeah, Patrona been having a heck of a day for himself here so far today, and we see Invalidos again. This time, at least, looking a little bit more.
Feisty.
He got shot right out of the vehicle from range. Hate to see it, but yeah, no, Invalidos is kind of stepping up, showing a little bit of that return to form from what we were seeing yesterday. That two-man push the Axino mechs right in their face as well. The other two kind of keep watch from range here, but in the end, Axino, the last one up, does end up getting taken out by Wasaka. Which Wasaka's still in the hunt, man. They keep finding late game. It seems like we're not really talking a whole lot about them, but they're always there.
Yeah, and again, it seems like that you look towards I guess the back half of today in particular of how they can finish. And see here, it was actually 28 points. I think actually that puts them ahead of their performance yesterday overall. I think it was 52 points on the day yesterday. That should be 53 total now for day 2. So that's actually a real step change for IT Official, and probably actually puts them over 100 points now, the 100-point club.
Love to be a part of that 100-point club here in day number 2, and especially only halfway through. We're officially halfway through the grand finals. Yeah. We got 3 more games left to play here today. We did see Invalidos collect a few more points that time around. This time you finally see a return of us Invalidos players into our kill count leader, Silence with 4. But look at Patrona and Tremble, man. 8 apiece.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even notice that from Tremble. So I was shouting out Patrona for just some individual prowess, but both of them tied up at 8 kills on the game. It's just really, really impressive stuff. I mean, it goes without saying that some of these teams, once they do make it to end game, they're looking a little more comfortable now, Poro.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about it, but this is the IT Official that we saw in group stages. And that's it's a double-edged sword, right? Because they played like this in group stages where they go out hunting kills. They are a kill-heavy team. They want to fight you. They want to get right in your face. Now, when it works, it's great. When it doesn't work, you end up in the last chance qualifiers, which is what happened to IT Official during the group stage. But when it worked in the last chance qualifiers, they ended up in second place, had a 80-something point odd day. It was insane. So IT Official, definitely one of those teams that wants to just get right in you. We became big fans of Sanji on IT Official just simply because of that. Like, he was that guy. He was their mechs, their Axino that got right in their face and just was collecting a whole bunch of kills.
Well, I mean, you could say it is a big bonus that they peaked so early in the group stage and then kind of dropped off. That maybe now showing that they can kind of reverse that recipe and maybe heat up towards the back end of today and carry that across into day 3.
And meanwhile, Invalidos, obviously we got to talk about them. They're in first place, but 114 points in day one. So far through 3 games, only 27 points. So a lot of teams being able to make a little bit of a catch-up run here.
Yeah, it's again, I keep my eye on that gap towards La Bahia, but now we've seen obviously 2 other teams break 100 points. They've definitely got to be involved in the discussion because, again, I don't want to say if this underperformance from Invalidos continues, but definitely where they aren't achieving that same average points per game, that's going to be so concerning going forwards as some of these other teams now pick up the slack.
You know, another team that's kind of quietly having a good day so far here today, Fuego. Already 40 points on the day. They've dropped down 1 spot here as Wasaka, but I mean, you can see how close they are. A little bit more disappointing though, Northblood. Only 8 points so far today. They've not been able to get their footing just yet.
No, and it's again, it's tough to see a team kind of drop off like this. It's now where you're looking that gap between Fuego and Northblood is very concerning, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, before it was there was effectively second and third place that were clustered together, and then kind of third towards fifth, but that gap now becomes really difficult to make up, and with the teams above them now stepping up, like I said, it makes it so difficult to chase them. You're almost relying on them going out early, and all of them are teams that are finding kind of top 6 placements with kills to boot. Northblood really they need 2 really strong games, and just to look at them as the lowest team having achieved a booyah as well is kind of concerning.
It sure is. And when we start looking at these things, obviously first place is what we got our closest eye on. But all down the leaderboard, everybody is fighting for money here. And pretty much, you know, depending on where you finish, where your placements are, that could be a difference of a couple of $1,000s. As you see our prize pool distribution here, it's kind of crazy. 5th and 6th place. That's Fuego and Northblood. They both get $3,000, but Fuego with a 26-point lead on Northblood. That's kind of wild.
Yeah, and you look towards again the drop off being outside of that top 3 is where it obviously drops 2K and then 1K respectively after that, which is why again, if you can keep pace even with the team above you, it makes it a little more reassuring, right? Especially if you're not in contention for some of these bounties. Really, you're looking towards kind of breaking away from 5th place at least. Which what did you say? It was Fuego, right? Locked in at 5th right now. So Northblood, yes, they are still kind of in a position to pick up a decent chunk of change, but for sure, you don't want that gap to become any worse.
No, I mean, I think everybody's kind of wanting to situate themselves as well as they can going into the last day, final day of competition. You want to make sure that whatever's just ahead of you is easily within striking distance. And I think most teams are kind of like that, with the exception of that 5th to 6th cutoff. Now, the top 5, though, it's still crazy. You know, Wasaka's kind of slowed down a little bit so far today. Only 27 points on the day so far compared to their 73 that they got yesterday. So, you know, they kind of need to pick it up in the second half today if they want to keep pace with IT official La Bahia and obviously Invalidos.
Yeah, they do. Maybe they're just taking a break today, which I don't know how you're feeling, Pod. Should we take a break as well?
I like breaks. What do you think, chat? You want to take a break? Well, let's take a break. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will get ready for the second half of the day, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
A storm is brewing off the coast of the continent and is continuing to grow in intensity. We will keep you posted on its status and when it's expected to make landfall. He's dead.
Close.
Hi survivors, welcome to the Free Fire Pro Series for North America. Participants will get the chance to showcase their skills and compete for their share of the $50,000 prize pool. This inaugural season will take place across 3 months in 4 unique phases: the Open Qualifier, the Group Stage, the Last Chance Qualifier, and the Finals. Teams will accumulate points throughout each of these stages, resetting for everyone at the start of each new phase. We will kick things off in the Open Qualifier. Teams from across the entire North American region will be split into lobbies of 12 teams, where survivors will battle it out for 6 games to earn their place in the next round. teams will be awarded points for their in-game performance, including points for their final placement in the lobby, as well as their kills throughout the games. At the end of these games, the top teams from each lobby will move on to the round of 96. This round will feature new lobbies and 6 more games for each team. The teams that finish in the top 6 for their lobby will move on to a final qualifier round of 48, after which only 24 teams will be left standing to move on to the group stage. The group stage will be comprised of a 3-week season, with 2 game days each weekend. The teams promoted from the open qualifier will be placed into 4 groups of 6 teams each. Throughout the season, these groups will be paired on game days in a round-robin format, so that each group will face off against every other group in a 12-team lobby at least once. At the conclusion of the group stage, the top 8 teams from this stage will qualify directly to the finals. The bottom 4 teams in the overall standings will be dropped from the tournament, and the remaining teams will move on to the Last Chance qualifier. The Last Chance qualifier will see the teams placed 9th through 20th from the group stage compete in their final opportunity to qualify for the finals. Their bouts will take place over the course of 2 game days, with 6 games per day, all in a final bid to earn their shot at the championship. After this intense LCQ stage, only the teams in the top 4 will be able to move on to the finals. To cap things off, our grand finals will take place over the span of 3 days, with the top 12 teams from the tournament playing 6 games every day for a grand total of 18. Here, teams must go all out to earn points and stake their claim as the inaugural Free Fire Pro Series champions. At the end of the 3 game days, the 12 finalists will receive their share of the $50,000 prize pool, and a North American champion will be crowned. All right, guys, welcome back to the Free Fire Pro Series Grand Finals. As you can see, we're wasting no time getting into it. The screen is yellow. We're about to jump into game. We were at the halfway point now going into game number 4. Things have gotten spicy on the leaderboard, and teams starting to play catch up. So, as I've asked you time after time, what are you looking for going into this match?
I'm going to sound like a broken record at this point when I say I'm looking for Invalidos to step back up their game. They really did show signs of it in the last game. They did have a great push onto Skullbreakers at the very least in the early game, but it just wasn't quite enough. They're not closing out the games at all. Like, it's not just that they're not closing out fights and they're having to run away and last until the end of the game. They're not getting to the end of the game whatsoever. These guys are getting taken out very quickly. Axino isn't getting the kills that he was getting yesterday. Mex is getting, a lot of the time, fragged out before they even get to the mid-game. So it's really not looking great for them at this point. I'm also looking for R15 to win an early fight. That would be lovely as well.
Yeah, another hot drop from R15 and another one of these drops starting out and fighting. We can also see in the kill feed, we've got a second fight popping up. We're going to stay with this R15 for just a little bit longer. There you see Prince on the high ground shots right now into Dalen. Bestia trying to reposition, and the first blood is going to go to Viola. So 2 hot drop fights to start off for this match. It's a bit crazy. In fact, I'm even taking another look. It looks like we've got a third potential team really close to each other out in center. So already a crazy start for so many of these teams.
Yeah, and once again, Club 9D, it's absolute disaster for them. They've lost a player already. 2 players, in fact, sorry. And that's just... It's looking like one thing after another for these guys. If they don't drop directly on top of another team, they seem to, be passive to a fault when it comes to fights against other teams. We saw this yesterday from them, is that they would have great opportunities to get involved in a fight, and they would try and they'd overthink it, leave it to the last moment, try and get great, gun control on them, get good angles, then push in at the last moment, and they'd get caught out. It didn't work out for them in that way, and then they'd hot drop on other teams, and they'd lose out those early fights. It's just one thing. It's one or the other for them. It's really not working out for them in the finals so far.
You see right now, Onu. La Onu is another team that just a bit of in the chase today, right? Needed to find some of those scoring chances. They've kind of had a couple of crazy games to start. Another team that really haven't seen, I think, come out as successfully in the mid game, right? Even just to start. They do have 4 strong, but this isn't the best situation to be in, especially as we wait for that first ring to pop and see where the circle is going to take us to. I mean, they can't quite pull out of this location here in Central because it is a primo location for crossing the river. So not wanting to give up to it just yet, but at the same time, they're taking this fight really slowly, really carefully, and that's something that I really respect out of them because I mean, R15 has just consistently, I don't think we've seen a single game thus far where they haven't dropped on another team.
Yeah, and that's some great positioning for Laonu, eventually getting punished by R15, but they went for that split. 2 players flanking around to the left of R15, and then the other 2 just overwatching the rest of the R15 side, and now they're all closing in together. It looks like Laonu could be the ones to win this fight. I don't know if they have enough healing, actually, to get Prince back up to full health. Could be potentially quite bad for them. R15 have actually somehow got themselves into a location where they can kind of defend, stave off the Laonu attacks. Maybe grenades would be absolutely lovely right now through those windows. Could push out the R15 players, but also Santi sat in a doorway with an SMG. Something out of clue, has actually taken out 2 players already. Very nice.
I see that confidence coming out from Laonu as they completely wipe R15 off the map, coming now out of this 4 kills and a good position to start. This is really going to allot them any part of the map, depending on which island the circle could potentially favor with that pop. Meanwhile, Osaka found themselves in the midst of Invalidos. Now, Invalidos landed in the high loot area out in Marbleworks along with Skullbreakers, ultimately pulled back away from that fight, found Osaka instead, and Skullbreakers, who also pulled away, finding themselves here with IT Official, but are getting the knocks. MVPs goes down. Trimble, a little bit low on health. P90 out, but is going to get spotted by Kuba.
It's a lovely flank from Skullbreakers. So well played in Quarry there, coming around either side of the hangar, making sure that IT Official could not get any heals down, could not get any reses going. Glue walling off each side of that edge of the hangar to make sure that there was absolutely no defense that IT Official could pull out. Now, Patrona and Santi, they've had to completely run away from this fight. And in the same way, Invalidos have run away from Massacre, it looks like. So a lot of teams trying to, once again, I mean, we're seeing Invalidos not to go for these fights. They got 1 knock onto Asaka and then just kind of gave up that position. They're really playing a lot less risky than they did last time, and I guess it's paying off for them in terms of placement, at least in this game, but it has not been paying off for them in terms of kills.
The circle is going to pop. You can see Laonu now on the edge of zone. Will have an easy cross across the waterway, and the rest of the teams needing to start working their way, getting into the zone. Team Money, 2 kills to show, stayed 4 up. Another team that's been having those early engagements that a big issue for them is if they lose too many early, we're seeing them struggle to keep up, if not even make it past the mid game. But this could be a good position from them. The issue is that they are the farthest right now from the zone, along with Northbloods, along with Wasaka. And so depending on how long they take to get in, it could find themselves in some more early fighting.
Yeah, I mean, once again, we're in this kind of, 6 minutes into the game. The ring is moving into that second one, and everybody is just kind of slowing down. In Valados, they might have an opportunity to take out these 2 remaining IT Official players. If they check out this sniper's nest here, they might just spot Sanji and Patrona set up there. This could be a very good start for them to this game. Oh, and Xeno, he's moving up. Oh no, is he? He's looting the stairs. Wait, the nade is out. Oh, the glue wall is down. I think they know that the jig is up, as it were. Xeno pulled out that nade, and they were, no, don't want any of that. They're trying to defend this location now, but Sanji is already down, and it's a lovely shot from Xeno. He's going to bag himself 2 kills, and that's some easy pickings now for Invalidos to start off our second game of Purgatory.
It's been, I think, for me, a little bit of a heartbreaking fight to see these 2 go at it so early. But you got to give credit for the creativity, a little bit of fun that they had there, trying to hide out in the tower. But again, talking about positioning, talking about teams in those early fights, Team Money still only at 4. They've got quite a ways to go to get to zone. But between here and Brasilia, it is entirely open. So they shouldn't have too many more issues wrapping and rotating. The big factor here is the fact that they do have Northblood and Wasaka potentially wrapping around in their area. Fuego is going to be able to walk across the bridge for free, but coming into Central, It is Club 9D that's a little bit slow behind them. It could potentially backfill the position or even catch them off guard if they're not too careful.
Yeah, an incredibly western ring on this one is actually making it a lot more difficult for Osaka, who kind of go to Moat House at the start of every Purgatory game, banking on that kind of either middling or to the east kind of ring, so that they can rotate in easily. This time, they're going to have to run a long way to the southwest just to get in, and you're going to see Osaka is defending that kind of that opening with Brasilia. Team Money is going to be running in at the same time. You've got Northblood just outside of that. It's actually a difficult situation now for these teams where Invalidos have somehow found themselves right in the correct location. You know, Golf Course, Mount Villa, these are going to be great locations to fortify. Laonu trying to get in on that one as well, but I mean, we'll see how this one works. Club 9D here is actually flanking Fuego. You can't quite see that on the minimap, but they are right behind them. We'll see if they can get one or two picks off, because that's really going to be what counts for them. Either you're going to play for that positional play, you want to get towards the end, just stick in the edge of that ring with 2 players left, or just run in, get 1 or 2 kills, get finishes, flushes are what you want at that point, and just guarantee yourself some points, because every point counts when you're right down at the bottom.
And on the flip side of that, right at the very top, Invalidos repositioning as well, leaving Skullbreakers out behind. I think that although they, in fact, I'll even say it. We saw them chasing kills, and I think we saw a little bit of overconfidence in some situations for them that they didn't quite come out on top of. And they had the lead to start. They had the ability to kind of play around like that, see if that would work. But ultimately, as IT, as Fuego, as La Bahia started to play catch up today, they lost a little bit of that front runner ability to take things at their own pace. And now they've got to be careful not to give up too many scoring opportunities and deny those from the teams that are right behind them on the leaderboard. So to break away from a fight they might not be comfortable and set up for a position that they can play later on and continue to farm those kills, be an interesting way for them to continue that climb, as you even pointed out at the start of this match, hoping to see from them.
Oh, that's unfortunate there for Osaka. I think they noticed Northblood rotating around on towards the north right before they were just about to get into the ring, and unfortunately just descended on them in a location where Osaka could not get behind any cover, could not return fire on them even, and lost one player now for that. Invalidos, they're going to try and keep those kills up, keep the momentum going into this game, try and make Purgatory good
Mex
for themselves. There we go. There's the time turner usage we've seen from Mex, pushing in, isolating that player, being able to get a free pick down. His teammates cannot come to his aid in that sense. Now Skullbreakers are down 2 players. Axino returning fire onto Clubber there, who is actually not going to get that. That's a knock for them. Brilliantly played. It's just Maxima left on Skullbreaker, and he's going to have to run away from this one, I think. But the spray from Silence will finish that one off. Beautifully pushed in from Invalidos, and they're going to come away with another 4 kills from that engagement.
And pushing in, here we go. We've been kind of anticipating Team Money running into one of those teams up to the north. It is going to be Northblood right now, and keeping proactive into compound. Shots by Monkey out the window, hoping to maybe catch a member off guard, but nothing connecting just yet. Team Money being quite careful. Now the circle is away from here. Trades coming out. Esteban actually getting the flush onto Rubio. Viola goes down. Team Money starting to look like they might be losing this fight, but Monkey, Flacco, really... unfortunately, not really many places to go, but oh, great use there of the camouflage. Unfortunately, Monkey not getting a knock from it.
Yeah, gonna have to just try and re-engage in another location on this one as they turn around the corner. It's not letting up on them. Blester is going to be knocked by Monkey, and he'll get the finish on him before being traded out by Elite. But Flacco's there to his aid, just about getting Elite down. They're going to knock that one as well. Going to try and get the res onto Monkey as Esteban moves around the corner. The timing isn't right, but he knows he's coming and is able to stop that res. Esteban might now just go for that. Yep, flush on him. It's a 1v1 now, Esteban and Flacco. Flacco caught in towards the corner trying to heal up. Sees Esteban walking away, but they're both outside the ring at this point, which is making it... Yeah, so much more difficult. Fuego, he pushes out. Not Fuego, sorry. Flaco pushes out. Gets behind another wall. Heals up once again. This is just a war of attrition. Now the grenade... cooked a bit too long, not able to get it quite over the wall. Still this 1v1, Flaco returns fire first, but it's Esteban who hits the shots, and Northblood come out on top of the fight.
You gotta give Flaco credit there. I mean, really staying active along the glue walls, trying to keep that distance as he worked on healing up and trying to stay as healthy as possible through the fight, but ultimately not quite meant to be. Meanwhile, Laonu getting that reposition in as well, going for some loot. You can see Mario actually has the car out into play, and oh no, did they actually see Invalidos here? It looked like Mario might have spotted a member is going to run, drive, straight towards Axino, but Silence is just actually quite literally being silent into this play, and there you go, La Onu bringing the fight up to Silence, are going to find the knock. Now they're going to turn their attention back to the last player inside Marble Factory, or Marble Works, Axino, but Axino has been spotted now by Wasaka.
Yeah, the shots fire out, somehow staying alive. He's just able to get behind a tree, bring some blue walls out, get some heals going, but it's Laonu who are going to push down on top of his position from the other side, try and just take advantage of the fire from Wasaka, pushing him to an awkward location. Oh, but it looks like they've got engaged with each other now. They've just started to, get involved with each other. Now Grazero trying to push in, but it's Laonu who are keeping hold of this location at this point.
We're Grazero repositioning right now. Like they have spotted Santi. Love again the use here of the camouflage. Get up the stairs and have a little bit more cover from that. But that nade falling just short onto Santi's second one. Santi's previous position. So proactivity there for Laonu. Haven't quite been knocked out just yet, but Wasaka got all eyes here on the players, and Santi popping another glue wall. Completely building out barriers from Wasaka, who, again, also very careful not to push this.
Yeah, brilliant positioning, I think, from Grazero to put pressure on from different sides, but it's Antoniel and Jonah who are stuck inside the house here, and it's getting pushed, actually, by the Laonu players. Oh, no. Just trying to push him out, but that's some good glue walls, and it's Antonio who's going to come around the other side, try and come to the aid of Jonah. He's going to be able to stave off at least the attack from Kelvin there. Maybe he can get that return fire on him, but well, he's bailed out his player. He's been able to get Jonah back outside of that house, but Grazero on the other side is pushed. And that's the risk of being by yourself there. It's now Laonu 4 versus the two players of Wasaka, as Club 9D, they're starting to get involved as well. That might make it a 4v4 if Laonu isn't careful.
This is really what we know for Club 9D, right? They wait for more of the late game opportunities to get involved, and they've got a bit of a safety net here, but Wasaka right now taking down players left and right. It's actually trades, only Prince still standing from Onu. Things falling apart in an instance, but Prince with the SMG. Ready to get back out. Nice use of hand, but oh, Prince somehow still alive in all of this. Oh, I spoke too soon.
Yeah, oh my lord. Managing to get 2 flushes, at the very least, on those Wasaka players is very nice for the team, but yeah, no, not quite going on. Oh my god, Fuego and Osaka are engaging in what looks like a cavalry fight. They're rushing at each other with their bayonets out. Now, just trying to push in towards each other. Look at the glue wall placement. Everything going down at the same time. Osaka is just firing on all cylinders at the Fuego players, but Fuego are managing to get knocks for themselves. Joshua now down.
Axel.
Only Axel left. Only 500 on the side of Osaka, but it's a brilliant shot from close range as he jumps around the side of the glue wall, saves the last 2 members of his team. What an end to that 1v1.
You see the health was just so low there for 500, almost perished themselves, but are able to get the reses, and just as the circle begins to close, it looks like Osaka might have time to recover. You can see the warehouses for right now are empty and free, but you've got Club 9D and Wasaka starting to close that gap internally. These are our last 3 teams still up, and everybody a bit fractured right now. Club 9D down to 2 players. Wasaka down to 2 players. Osaka down to 3.
Yeah, much smarter, I think, from all of these teams this time. You can see the fact that we've got 3 teams in this with this 4th ring towards the late game here is actually really nice to see. It means that these teams, they're being able to disengage very effectively, stay alive with less than 4 members, being able to actually get away from a fight before it ends. Osaka are going to be the ones who end up with the more favorable ring. But Wasaka looking down on them from here. I don't think either Wasaka or Club 9D really want to start engaging until the time is right. You know, that lower player. Oh, a great shot from Jonah. Headshot onto 500. Gonna knock him down. It's an easy res for Spectral at the very least here, but I mean, it's a good position actually from Wasaka. They do need to move, but they've got a nice way of shooting down on top of Osaka, who, I mean, there's no cover here whatsoever.
No, but look at the Spectral. 7 grenades. It's the utility now that comes into the late game. When you really look at what type of coverage is inside the zone, it's just these crates. And you can see Osaka already playing the prone game, trying to stay out of sight and hoping that Osaka and Club 9D continue to do damage into each other as they both work to get into the zone. But it's actually going to be Wasaka that takes that rotation around to the north. And you can see Spectral, Alcade really being careful not to give up their position just yet, waiting for everybody else to come to them, as they should, because they have a perfect spot in the circle. And Alcade is going to spot out Millsy. Gets that one knock, and you can see Spectral now trying to take that final member out of Club 9D. Johan, he moves into the zone. Nade thrown out. 2 nades, 3 nades. He's just going to let it rain. I mean, he's got the utility to spare. Still 4 left in the pocket.
Yeah, Alcalde does finish there, Millsy, but taking shots from behind now, they have to be very careful that Wasaka don't push in. It's a lovely nade from Spectral, finish off Gone. Now it's just Wasaka and Osaka pushing in towards each other. Antonio trying to push in some fire and keep them away from these locations. You've got a nice few boxes there to hide behind for Osaka. A well-placed grenade could do a lot of damage, but they also know that Spectral is off to the side. Took that off angle, which has pretty much saved Osaka in this situation, because it means Osaka can't push in. Antonio taken down by 500, and now they push in towards W. SK, it's finished off. Osaka taken out by the remaining Osaka members, and a lovely clean finish for them.
Osaka, and a phenomenal ending there at the end. And I mean, again, just the way that final circle was, losing the rest of the coverage, coming down to just those crates. Well played, kind of for everybody. And again, those good kills that were needed on the leaderboard. We talked about the chase. We talked about how close it is, all these different gaps and breaks that everybody's having right now. It is matches like this that are going to make the biggest difference this weekend. And I can clearly say right now, as we've gone past the halfway point of this tournament, I can't tell you who's going to win.
Yeah, and that is going to be it now for Purgatory. We're going to be heading to Bermuda next, I think. Yeah, Bermuda is the last map of the day in just a bit, but let's go over that game with our analysts, Poro and Hypoc. Take it away, guys.
Hello everybody, we are back once again. 4 games in the books and another victory there. We did get to see Wasaka late game. They're picking up some more points and trying to make a catch up here as we take a look at the top of the leaderboard. But let's take a glance at some of these highlights, Hypoc. I know this was a little bit more of a slow burn this game around.
It was, yeah. I think across the board, I don't know if that was just a byproduct of some of the early engagements that happened, or just the positioning. I guess it's one of those games where the stars align and almost nobody really is forced into an engagement. Again, actually, no man, this guy loves the noob tube in any form.
I mean, you see it find a lot of play, especially late game whenever you got to break through 5 million glue walls that are laid down. But it turns out it's fairly effective at clearing snakes and rats out of towers, as well as we see. Northblood actually having a pretty decent game for themselves here as well, as Esteban does end up going down. Nice shooting from Luis there from Osaka.
This was insane though. Jonah and actually I can't even remember who the second member of Osaka. It was last member. Yeah, it was Otoneo actually. Yeah, this was just such an insane play. It's almost like they're desperate to clear them out of that shack, but they play perfectly around some of the glue walls that are invested inside there. Time Turner as well for good measure. Just really impressive play there.
Always a fun finish when you get to see Osaka versus Wasaka. That's always yeah, it's a little bit fun to cast around there. But Osaka with the 21 points, 9 kills as well. Wasaka 14 for their effort, and obviously Osaka, good to see them gaining some points. Now having a better day than they had in day one. They're climbing the leaderboard. But Wasaka, again, this is a game that they needed to have here today.
They did, and they probably need another couple of those if they want to start pushing, or at least follow on from this performance. Because again, I think that potentially pushes them a little higher, maybe. We'll have to see how it comes across on the overall leaderboard. But if a team's able to pick up points like this, it's always a shame to see that kind of yo-yoing in terms of the game by game performances.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when you look at Invalidos, obviously they still managed to catch themselves a nice little stack of kills, but La Bahia only 5 points, no kills. IT official 0 points altogether. So when the teams that you're kind of chasing and trying to keep in pace with have a rough game like we just saw, you got to capitalize. And Wasaka definitely doing that. Osaka, there you go, 500 with the 5 kills for himself. That was a hell of a team fight for himself. I was worried for the man. I really was.
Really? I
kind of was, man. He had the SMG. I mean, he had he was the shotty going up against the SMG. I can't remember who had which, actually. It was the shotty going up against the SMG, and I was just kind of surprised he won. He had
he didn't break
3
sweat,
HP.
man. He didn't break a sweat. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, 500 cleans it up. Wasn't even close. He did manage to get the 3 reses there and then win the game. So not too bad there. Invalidos still holding on to first place. It's tenuous.
Well, clinging to life, you could say.
18 points though.
Yeah, I mean, well, we started off today. It was around 42, if I'm not mistaken. So that puts it in perspective of just how good a day La Bahia is having already. I think 54 points in total on day 2 so far, with the last 2 games left to play. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, you look towards obviously the end of today, but also day 3. If that gap, I guess, between them, Osaka, and then IT below them. And also, you can throw Fuego in the mix now as well. We're talking about where these cutoffs were in terms of the prize pool. Just one game can sway this.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like the fact that Invalidos was able to pick up 9 points in that last game was actually huge. I mean, they end up going out early, and obviously they're not tearing it up like they did yesterday. But the fact that they're still able to kind of keep getting points regardless, not having a 0-point game or even a 2 or 3 point game, but they're still able to kind of get a nice little stack to kind of keep pace and keep barely ahead. But like you said, man, La Bahia, they're having a fantastic day so far today. Another booyah on the board. We still got 2 more games left to go, and we're switching over to a map that they have a lot of success on.
Yeah, and that's important. I think we've seen some real examples of kind of comfort zones. I don't know. This is something for me now with La Bahia kind of finding success towards endgame. Maybe I want to see them potentially look to repeat what Invalidos were doing, which was putting up some points early and allowing themselves to maybe play some of these late game situations a little more aggressively. Because again, at that point, it's like you can throw the placement points out the window. If you have that kill buffer, you can play a little more free, right? It comes back to that concept of it being easier to kill teams that are just focused on trying to survive, right?
Absolutely. And just kind of going back and looking at my stats from the group stages, La Bahia, this is actually their best map that we're about to go into. Kalahari, the highest average placement for them is on this map. So for a team that finds so many of their points based off of placement, or at least just getting 4 up and getting into the late game, this is great news for them. Hopefully they can keep their success on Kalahari going, as they are so close, man. 18 points. That's comparatively, that is to where they've been sitting. That's nothing.
No, it's not. Just compare, actually. But yeah, look at after this head-to-head now. Actually, the gap not so bad. I can't remember what the numbers were, but I'm pretty sure Invalidos at the start of the day was,
it was nuts.
Way over double the kills per game than La Bahia. So you've seen them really, really close this gap quite effectively today. I didn't even realize actually that Invalidos had dropped off this hard, to be honest with them still putting up kills like we said, and still I guess finding top 5, top 6, it actually just goes to show just how much they've kind of slipped off the pace.
Yeah, I mean, it's you slipped off the pace as well, but it just goes to show how great that game was, that their day was that they had yesterday.
Yeah,
114
exactly.
points. I mean, they're obviously not having as good of a day today. They're having a pedestrian day today. 36 points. I mean, I think they're like dead center of the leaderboard in terms of points today. But when you look at what they were able to do, and that they still have an 18-point lead, even after having the most average of days here today, it's wild. It's wild that they were able to really catch fire the way that they did yesterday.
Yeah, and just coming to this, actually, also just to give a little credit to, I think it's La Bahia leading on the day.
We're going to Bermuda. I'm an idiot. Stupid.
That's
my
tough.
fault.
Well, it's lucky we have that graphic up actually, just to remind us. If we can go back to talking about Kalahari if you want. I mean, it's
No, I'm
to
good.
you.
I'm good.
Okay, no, we'll
I'm
park
good.
that one for the time being.
We
then.
will. Well, okay. Well, now that we've seen that, we are heading over to Bermuda. I'm sorry, I got caught up. I was thinking about yesterday. We finished on Kalahari. Today we're finishing on Bermuda. We're switching things around a little bit. But when you look at Bermuda, then from the group stages, Osaka has
That's the one that stands out. Yeah,
highest average place. I mean, they averaged through 18 games 3rd place. I mean, that's nuts.
Yeah, and that's a team I was just about to get to before we started talking about Kalahari. Actually, Osaka actually trended. That wasn't even shade. I didn't even mean that. Osaka, a team that's actually trending up day by day here. It worked out perfectly. So that could be a real opportunity for them to finish strong. I mean, like I said, they've already outperformed their daily performance in day one of the grand finals. So maybe they can use that to potentially, slingshot themselves up the leaderboard even more. They've climbed to 6th now. Like I said, that cutoff in 5th to 6th is where you start seeing a bigger increase in the prize pool, Poro.
I'm kind of looking, taking a glance to see how they did yesterday. Okay, they did all right. Osaka did all right on Bermuda. So let's see if they turn around today, as the yellow screen means that we are ready to head into game number 5 with your casters, Clover and Twiggy.
Thank you so much, Poro and Hypoc. And, as you said, Osaka had a decent day at Bermuda yesterday. They were middling, but the teams that had a good day yesterday, aside from Invalidos, because let's be honest, that was a phenomenal game or map. They picked up 20 kills just in those 2 games. My eyes really go again to Fuego and to La Bahia and even to Osaka. And it's not just the kills that they picked up on the map, but the fact that they constantly found the late game. And after having a phenomenal day on the other 2 maps today, those are the teams that I think finally have the chance to clutch it out. So Twiggy, again, the question I've asked you every single time, what is it that you are looking for as we go into this next map?
I'm actually really interested to see if Osaka can keep up their placement that they did yesterday. They were our best performing team in terms of placement on Kalahari here yesterday, with 2 second place performances from these guys. So not in terms of kills. They got 6 kills over the 2 maps, but in terms of placement, they did incredibly well to just position themselves correctly. The top kills obviously go to these kind of top 3 teams that we think of as big fraggers here, as La Bahia, Invalidos, and IT Official, but that's not always what gets you the points, and this is how Osaka really entered into the kind of the top teams of yesterday, and they're going to be doing it with another hot drop from R15 and IT Official. Amazing.
R15, what is you doing? No, baby, stop. Because it's just, I feel like it hasn't been the most successful thing for them to do, especially to jump on the team like IT Official right now, who found themselves another knock there. You can see MVPs with the Uzi, seeing if they could get jump along with Patrona here on Zalba. They've completely got members of R15 picked apart and separated. Bestia tried to help out, but it actually is going to take quite a bit of damage on a fall there. And it looks like R15 starting to run out of options, but I feel that IT Official is going to get Dalba here. I mean, Dalba's nowhere to go.
I'm feeling some sort of deja vu here. Not only has this happened all day today for R15, this happened on the first game of Bermuda yesterday between the same 2 teams. IT Official and R15 both dropped here on the mill yesterday on the first map of Bermuda, and R15 got demolished by them immediately, and it's happened once again. So, I don't know if maybe they just thought, this time we got them. This time IT Official, they got no chance against us. We've increased our mill gameplay, our mill drop gameplay. No, it hasn't happened. No, they've done exactly the same thing once again. And running your head into the wall sometimes isn't the best way to get into the late game, maybe.
No, I know for some lobbies, sometimes it can work, right? You can hot drop, you can get yourself a situation, farm some early kills. But, I mean, we're in the grand finals, and you really want to try and give yourself not only as many scoring chances, which means staying up in late game, but giving yourself the ability to gather resources, to prepare for those fights. And so what R15 is doing, taking these hot drops, they're running the chance that they're going to set another team off guard. But I just feel like, if anything, they're only continuing to hurt themselves. Because when we've seen them get in situations where they come away from those fights, give themselves the looting time, give themselves the room to breathe, and the ability to take better control of the area that they're in, then we see them be a little more successful. So a bit of a heartbreaking start for them in that regard. And I think unfortunately one of the reasons why we're seeing R15 struggling a little bit near the bottom of the leaderboard so far this tournament.
Yeah, we saw an interesting play here from Club 9D as it all comes to a head. You saw Millsy fly in from the top of your screen onto the rigging there in Shipyard by himself, and I was wondering where the hell he came from, but it looks like the rest of the team are using this as a strat. This is something completely new from Club 9D. They might actually get a knock here as Millsy runs in, and he's got a great angle. He's done so much damage both to Boss and to another player from this team here. They move in on Northblood, and it's so quick from these guys. This is something we haven't seen from Club 9D at all. Not yesterday, not today. This is brilliant from them. Blester and Elite 7 now both down to very low health. They're going to have to disengage completely. That's free control of Shipyard for Club 9D. A lot of damage and 1 kill for free for them, and they've knocked Northblood down to 2 members alive.
Meanwhile, we can see Bestia working their way across the bridge, slowly but surely, carrying the hopes and dreams of R15 on their shoulders. Just shaking my head right now, R15.
Yeah. So much pressure as well on Bestia. How could you do this to them? How could you do it? How could you do it? It's heartless, honestly.
All right, well, there you go. The ring is going to pop, and it looks like we're going Mars Electric. Team Money actually in a good position to start this off. Fuego, easy traverse across the way to get into the zone. But all the teams right now that are currently stacked up to the north, where my eyes are kind of going to see some more potential for early fighting is now Northblood taking it up to IT Official, who I feel has been having a phenomenal day in terms of performance. Finally seeing them rack up the kills that we knew were capable here. And to see keeping that bullying going onto Northblood Elites. Right now being hunted by Patrona, and it looks like Patrona might have an idea that he's around the corner. Shots out, Elite. Pop that time turner, but not coming out just yet. Trimble looking for it, but it's going to be Patrona that connects.
Oh no. I mean, the last 2 remaining players of Northblood had absolutely no healing to work with after that fight. They disengaged, they had nowhere, they weren't on top of any loot that they could grab, so they just had no healing. They were both down on about 10 HP. And whilst trying to get a bit of loot, they've just run into our team that's been on fire so far today, and just, no, it wasn't working out for them. In the meantime, though, Laonu dropping on top of Club 9D. Can they get a kill off? If they can get a knockdown here, Club 9D are so far separated from each other, they might be able to turn it into something big. There it is, Domi's down. Can they finish it? He gets back inside the time. No, there it goes. There's a trade from Millsy, but already 1 player lost for Club 9D, and it's looking like the luck they had at the start of the game that they manufactured for themselves with a great play is all turning quite sour quite quickly.
I mean, Laonu really did a phenomenal job with that reposition. We saw them land up there onto the roof, and glue walls up. The knock came out, but it was quickly recovered, and keeping that pressure there onto Club 9D. As you say, 1 member already taken down. It actually looks like Club 9D is just going to completely break off from this fight and push their way down to the zone. Now, remember, the circle did take that very hard shift to the south, so quite a few teams that still need to work their way. Looks as well to be, I believe, as Skullbreakers also in this area as well. As what's left of R15. Bestia are solos, so it's going to be really interesting to see, even if they manage to get into the zone safely right now, Club 9D, who's going to be on their backside once the zone continues to close out.
Yeah, and this, once again, this kind of mid-game area where we're just waiting for these teams to push in towards this second circle now. Wasaka, they're going to be trying to defend the edge of the circle here from Invalidos, but it's Invalidos who get the first pick. Grozero is pushed down already and taken out. That's a knock for them and a finish as well. Atoniel pushed down as well. Jonah is going to be flanked there from Mex. It's a brilliant pushing play from him. We know him for it so well. He's going to do it once again onto Camatron here. Will he be able to take him down? Some assists from them there, but Wasaka are taken down just in beautiful fashion there from Invalidos. This is much more like what we want to see from them.
I mean, Mex with the SMGs is just such a scary combination. And also talking about scary combination is actually going to be Johan getting knocked to death trying to get caught out there on that reposition by Laonu. This is that fear that we had of watching Club 9 pull away, as if they were going to be able to pull away successfully from Laonu, who has just been an absolute terror from the skies as they continue to bully teams along the edge.
Yeah, it's a great. I mean, they knocked him in midair, and unfortunately, you don't carry that momentum once you're knocked. He just fell like a stone, straight down to the ground. Oh dear. Only 2 players left of Club 9D. Laonu sailing over these last 2 players, as I think once again the strat that they had in last game is going to come well into full effect as they just try and stay alive up until the end of the game. They bagged themselves 8 points, getting into 3rd place last game. No kills at all, but 8 points was quite nice for them on the bottom of that leaderboard. You know, the bottom 2 places, $1,000 in the prize pool. So just getting up into 10th place bags them an extra $500. Very nice, very nice. Another about 150 per each player. So I think that's pretty much what they're going for here, is just placement points.
There you go. You see quite a few teams hanging along to the edge. Bestia also nervously close here to Laonu as they've coming into this a bit late, and might actually be something that could potentially help out Club 9D as if Laonu turns their attentions to La Bestia. And as we see right now, Laonu just worried about getting themselves up in the zone safely. Are going to leave 2 out behind just to watch the edge of zone. And meanwhile, Bestia maybe read the situation and is going to get away from the area, but still not quite yet in the zone. Another issue, though, for Bestia is just to the south of this position is Osaka. So as a solo wanting to keep their head down, they do need to be a little bit careful as they take these rotations and make sure they give themselves places that they can put down a little bit safely and comfortably. But you can just see the way that Osaka have this last little bit of an island held out. If they even turn their attentions at all to Bestia, there's not going to be anywhere they can go.
What are Club 90 doing? They're dropping directly onto Skullbreaker's heads. Look how far out of the ring this is. They've just gone immediately for an engagement. Where are they going? Where are they going? They're heading north.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you feel like you've got the kills to go for it, right?
I think they've Oh no, they're going to another launch pad. Oh, they've done a little triangle of launch pads. Oh no, Bestia, no, Bestia. He got away, got inside the house. Can he fortify this? This is going to be, oh no. Bestia's being pushed down by 500 here. 500 looking to add to his kill count, but it's Spectral who finishes off Bestia in the end. And that's going to be all of our pointless. That's quite a sad word to use. It's literally technically correct, but the pointless teams.
Not the way that you want to end out a day like today, right? You don't want to be the pointless teams. You want to try and find some of the strengths as you can. Pick the points that you can. And Laanu, I feel like, has been doing a decent job of that today. But IT Official up here on the high ground of Factory. Look how many teams are in the area. This could be a big scoring opportunity for them. You see the bullet tracers coming out right now towards Invalidos, well as Laonu. So 3-way fight right now between all these teams.
Yeah, I mean, Laonu actually engaged on that one very early, and I think IT Official are very happy about that one because they've got a very nice position up on top of the roof of Factory there. They can third-party this one incredibly effectively once this fight gets fully underway, I think. We're frozen. Perfect. There we go. But the fight is still going on between these guys. And IT Official, yeah, as I said, have immediately started just firing up on top of these guys. Now Invalidos and Laonu, they have bigger fish to fry in terms of opponents here.
Been here for 2 days. Why are you still calling them out? Invalidos.
Return fire is nice there from Santi. Getting a knock onto Tremble, and the nade not quite finishing that kill, but it's good for them to keep IT Officials staved off, but it might also be incredibly good for Invalidos, who are going for a little flank around the back of Factory.
Triggered.
You can see Patrono right now scoped in their shots onto Kelvin. Will connect, but the knock not coming out just yet. Santi, meanwhile, does get a knock onto Tremble. The res comes out from Patrono, though. IT Officials still healthy.
Pew, 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 pew.
Still inside the circle. They've got plenty of time to try to get that pressure. Speaking of time and speaking of pressure, though, La Bahia now stuck upstairs. Osaka knocking at the front door. Nades out. La Bahia really need to start taking care of Osaka if they want to get out of this one safely.
Yeah, lovely systematic grenades there from Spectral to try and clear out the attic of the house here, but not doing enough damage. That means they know at the very least that they're not right by the windows. Will they push in? No, it's not going to be easy for them to push in if Laonu go for a little flank on these guys. Third-partying this one, Alcalde is already taken down. That's really unfortunate for them. They're stuck outside with no cover whatsoever. If some well-timed nades come in through the edge here, yeah, they have to commit that time turner, but Santi moves in once again, takes out another player, and that's 2 finishes for Laonu on an unsuspecting Osaka, who are really just trying to take down La Bahia. But La Bahia now, I think Laonu is completely unaware of their position. Did they see Osaka throwing nades in through those windows?
Amazingly, though, La Bahia is still also with 3 up. You can see on the minimap the circle has shifted down to the south, and there's actually a lot of water to play, so that's really going to make things a bit difficult for some of those teams that really don't have much of anything for coverage. Osaka sending too early out to the center. Meanwhile, you can see just the fight that's really been going on with La Bahia. I mean, they really don't have many opportunities. Jumping out the window is going to be potential suicide or waiting to get knocked out. And so, if anything, the big play, it seems to be what they're doing is waiting for La ONU to mess up, and Glows actually is going to spot a member. It is Prince, gets that knock, and that could be what La Bahia needed to trade this back in their favor.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. I was wondering if La ONU was aware of La Bahia here. It doesn't look like they knew that Osaka were in a fight as they joined that one. It looks like they just thought they were looting that area. Luckily, La ONU, they've managed to stave off La Bahia here. They reacted incredibly well to them, throwing nades back at them, taking shots back past the glue wall. So they have managed to actually first one of those players there and make sure that La Bahia don't have a very easy time of taking out these La ONU players. It looks like they're just going to have to run away from this one, but in the meantime, Northblood, with the last remaining player of the team, has taken down both Osaka members. That's very nice for them, but here comes Invalidos here. They're moving in on the La ONU players, still reeling from that onslaught from La Bahia here. That's really unfortunate. Prince is stuck by himself, but it's La Bahia still on the other side who takes out Santi now, and it's just all turned on its head for La ONU, who took down Osaka earlier on, managing to third-party them, being pinched down by two teams. Oh, there it is. Mex will finish it off.
Everybody right now just rushing into the zone, and actually IT is going to drive in behind this. You can see Trimble, MVPs, Patrona, Sanji, all right now trying to take the fight to them, but Axino getting that opening knock there onto MVPs, and then Validos is going to have to turn their attention now to IT Official, allowing the last two members of La Bahia to close the gap here. And we've got a three-way fight happening on the hill. Glue walls left and right. You can even see just the confusion, the spam starting to come out from players, hoping to catch another person off guard because I'm not quite sure where everybody is.
It's Invalidos who come out well on top. Not a single knock onto Invalidos players. They've now taken out 4 players. That's a full team of La Bahia now and 3 players of the IT Official team. Now it's just one left trying to defend their position for themselves. Now on 12 kills, Invalidos, this is exactly what we wanted to see from them in Purgatory. Now they're turning it into a brilliant Bermuda performance.
I mean, just showing why they were the top performing Bermuda team yesterday. Meanwhile, Fuego, full control out to the south. Skullbreakers going in for the big swim rotation. No, the zone did pull away from the water, so they need to be a bit careful not to get caught out. With 4 teams alive, though, Fuego and Validos coming head-to-head here. It could be the distraction that Skullbreakers need to get in from the water safely. Additionally, our Club 9D has 2 players still in Mars, and I think their play here is to hold out until these teams can play it out. But look at this. 2 members of Invalidos are down. It looks like another member of Fuego is as well. The flushes, the trades are coming back. It's just Mex standing. Can he recover?
If anyone can do it, it is Mex. Oh, the king of pushes, but Calvin just ready to finish that one off and is going to be able to revive Axel and Uziel there. Very good from Fuego just to hold on to that one. It was looking kind of curtains there when Mex was pushing in, you know, like they got that first knock onto the guys, but Invalidos still showing brilliant pressure to be able to push back in and take down 3 of those Fuego members, being able to first one of them. Skullbreakers now, they want to get involved. They're going to try and take these Fuego players still reeling from that fight, try and just get 1 or 2 kills in this last engagement. As Club 9D, they just watch on from the sidelines.
Fuego coming into this fight with the 1-man advantage, but now taking down Skullbreakers can turn all their attention back to Club 9D. You can see Exploit hanging out from behind the tree. It is all 3 members of Fuego just versus the last player. They've got the zone, and you can see right now they not really have to do much of anything. They're not going through and trying to completely find Exploit. You can see Uziel has a general idea of where he is, and Axel actually trying to get a wide wrap is going to be beautiful use of a time turner to keep Exploit up and happy, but Calvin closing in the gap to chase out all 3 members of Fuego, not going to let it up, and there you go, Exploit has been taken, and we've got a booyah.
Yeah, a brilliant performance there from Fuego, just coming in at the end, taking out all those kills, and it's going to match the kill score there of Invalidos towards the end, getting themselves a brilliant amount of, I think 24 points for that whole game, 12 kills, 12 points. But Club 9D, once again, being able to get right into that top 3 in terms of placement. This is what Osaka was doing a lot of the time yesterday, and so brilliant from them. they're going to actually get very good use of those points towards the bottom of the table. That might actually push them up into 10th place, which is very nice from them. But I think the big winners here, once again, Fuego, they're going to be very happy with that performance, probably moving up into 4th or 5th place now.
Absolutely. I mean, this was the catch up that they needed on the map that we know that they performed super well on. But we're going to throw this back to the analysts, see what they had to say about this match before we go into our final game of the day.
Big game from Fuego as they collect a nice stack of kills to go along with these placement points, and it's kind of just the cap on what's been already a pretty decent day for them so far, Hypoc.
Yeah, it has 52 points on the day before that game. It's a nice way to follow through on that. Again, you're looking for some teams to really jump up the leaderboard, particularly on day 2. So it's good to see them. I mean, now with another game in hand as well, massively outperform their day 1 performance, bro. That was actually sick, by the way.
Yeah, no. Oh well, kind of a return to form in a little bit in a way for Invalidos here. There's Glows just kind of. Yeah, you don't want to vault out that one, buddy.
On the feed.
It do be happening sometimes.
Yeah. But you're right. Yeah, Invalidos are way more active this time around. You can visibly see kind of the objective change for them at the point where, again, they take a few casualties, which is something that wasn't happening yesterday. At least this fight with Fuego. Actually, Mech's desperate to make something happen, but those flushes come through too early. And, this just became a game of numbers here for Fuego. They're able to last out here.
And Skullbreakers trying to be the mermen that they know that they can be. And in the end, they get some placement points off of it. But Exploit, the last one to go down there. As you can see, Fuego with the 12 kills, 24 points total. And I got to be honest, Hypoc, it almost was not to be for Fuego there. They were playing from inside the compound. You had a 4-man Team Money that was playing on the cliffside, and they just got absolutely worked.
Yeah, just a lack of safety in the end game, to be honest, from lots of these threats, right? And then when you have teams, they have the time and space to set up and really kind of gather that information and set up accordingly. That's when it becomes really, really rough. I think it's probably why we saw so many teams coming in with either 1 down or 2 down. And at that point, it's really difficult to make something happen.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of caster cursing as well on our side. As you see with Sokka, 0 points.
That's tough.
This game around. That is very tough for a team that's struggling, basically, or to keep their top 5 position or trying to gain ground, essentially. But
La Bahia as well. You got to mention that his 2 kills, 6 points overall. They've kind of slowed down from the start that they had today.
Well, they sure have. And, Invalidos with that game, able to kind of turn things around, pick things up a little bit. They're now up to 55 points total on the day, so that's putting them more in more respectable territories. You can see Axino and Mex once again on our kill leaderboard here. Calvin, Uziel, Fuego, as they did a pretty good job of collecting points themselves. They're finding their way to late game every time, but it seems like they're finding more kills than La Bahia is.
Yeah, they definitely are. I think it's safe to say they're heating up. No toffees pun intended there, but it's good to see. Like I said, it's tough to look back, and I think they were sat probably middle of the pack yesterday. I think this game will actually push them into 3rd overall, and definitely leading on the day as well by a comfortable margin. Sure. You actually here, yeah, look at that. They actually do climb up with 122 points here. Again, 16 points trailing behind La Bahia, but with them slowing down a little bit as well, and Fuego actually picking up the pace, that there's a chance for them to actually contest 2nd place here.
Yeah, this is a great day for Fuego. 30-point improvement upon what they put out yesterday. And to be honest, I mean, this is kind of more what we were expecting from this squad coming into the grand finals. 46 points on the first day, definitely a little bit slow for them, but you can see Axel. I'm actually surprised Axel hasn't started heating up. Axel was one of our top kill getters in the group stages, but the rest of his team picking up the pace for him.
Yeah, the top kill getter. I'm not sure if that is that.
Yeah,
we'll go with that.
Not official terminology. We're still workshopping it. Don't worry.
I hope he can get back to being the top kill getter, because that would be huge for them to follow through here. But yeah, it's definitely great to see. It's dude, just to come back to it again. This really does speak volumes as to how insane that day yesterday was. Because Axino, Mex, and Silence still all represented here in the overall kills. And yes, now they've had a couple of games, I guess, to get back online today. But just, I mean, you look at it, Domodios and Tremble both have had really, really good days today. And they're still just kind of muddled in with the pack there. Axino's still 11 kills ahead of Mex as well.
I mean, there was
as bonkers.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Top kill getter.
Top kill getter indeed. You know, sometimes you got to get kills, and for that you need to get your top kill getter. But Axino, there was a point. There was a long period of time there. I mean, going into like the late day where Axino had more kills by himself than every other team in the lobby other than Invalidos. So
I feel like that's probably still the case, right? There's still probably quite a few. Saka sat at 35 overall. Everybody below that. Yeah, so he has more kills than 7 of the teams on the leaderboard. There we go, yeah.
Good Lord. Look at that. He's got more kills than half the lobby.
Yeah, must be nice.
Sometimes it must be nice to have that on your a kill getter like that on your squad. But you know, if you're going to be I don't even know.
We are renaming the bounty to that, by the way. It's going to be top kill getter.
Top kill getter. I appreciate it. I'm glad I was able to contribute something to the world of Free Fire. Well, the yellow screen has popped. Thank God. That means we are heading into our final game of the day with Clover and Twiggy, or as I like to call them, Cloggy.
No, stop trying to make Cloggy happen. It's not gonna happen.
Stop trying. Everybody tries to make Cloggy happen.
Oh my gosh. No, you know, top kill getter. I love it. But something to note, I mean, we've been talking about how great so many teams have been performing today. All of that said, Invalidos, 31 kills, 5 games in today, still the most amount of kills of a single team today. So while we've seen some climbing from the rest of the teams, especially in terms of placement points and those booyahs, Invalidos have managed to hold that lead. I mean, they had that 1-0 point game, but every other match has been good for them, even when they aren't finding the win.
Yeah, I mean, I think we do hold a very high standard for them after what we saw yesterday. I think we've been quite harsh on them in the first few games. They have been scoring good points generally. They've been letting La Bahia kind of get back up into that contention spot for number 1, but in general, they seem to have their, at the very least, their good games under control, so they're staying well ahead at this point. And with La Bahia being relatively inconsistent right now, it does mean that they are staying quite far ahead of them. La Bahia only getting 8 points that game is quite painful for them.
Oh,
you know,
no,
they're slipping back down. Oh no, please don't tell me.
I didn't look for anything else except for R15's logo because I was anticipating this. Hot dropping yet again. This time it is Wasaka. Rosero already has the shots out, getting the opening knock onto Dauba. R15. Why?
They went away from Mill as well. They noticed that IT official had done it twice to them on Mill, so they left Mill, but now they've dropped directly on top of Wasaka, and Wasaka are doing an incredible... I feel so sorry for R15. They've just been absolutely... They've been dealt a pretty bad hand in terms of drops on Bermuda so far.
Look at Decathy are already on the run. They know what to do. They're like, well, we've lost the rest of the team. There's no point in wasting time around here. Wasaka getting the finishes on the rest of the players. And now, unfortunately for Wasaka as well, not really knowing where Decathy is, are going to have to really comb through this area to make sure that they don't get caught off guard by the remaining R15 player. But as we know, Decathy is done with this fight. Is just going to try and keep their heads down for the rest of the match. And it looks like the other team that has constantly been finding themselves in hot water early on is going to be Skullbreakers up to the north still with Club 9D. And it looks like Club 9D holding alongside to the coast. But I'm not going to discount that this fight isn't going to pop off just yet. In fact, it looks like both teams very aware of each other.
Yeah, I mean, it really is right now, interestingly, kind of two stories at the moment. We've got the teams towards the bottom of the table. You know, you've got Club 9D Skullbreaker, who are right next to each other in Shipyard here. And funnily enough, Wasaka up at the top, that we've got these kind of top 5 teams, 114 for Wasaka, 115 for IT Official, 122 for Fuego. You know, these guys are all contending for different areas of this table right now. So it's really going to be interesting to see. First off, Skullbreakers and Club 9D, whoever comes out on top of this fight is going to be going into tomorrow with the upper hand in terms of, getting that extra $500 from the bottom of the table, maybe extra 1,000, getting up into the 2,000 range in 8th place. But this is really important for them. 9D doing exactly the same thing as they did last time. Millsy jumping straight on top of the rafters here, taking a nice few shots onto the Skullbreakers players. You could see Clubber going down to low health. Palonki also taking shots from them. And it's actually difficult for Skullbreakers to hold this position now.
Yeah, and you can see just off in the distance, Laonu starting to gather around the shipyard area, went through the high loot area to pick up some extra goodies, but hearing what this fighting going on, they've come to investigate another team that's kind of been to the lower mid of the table that's been chasing the points and finding themselves in those aggressive engagements, but Skullbreakers down to just Palonki right now. You see the P90 is out, stuck kind of in the crates, keeping eyes on Dami, but nowhere else to really go in this situation as Club 9D completely surrounding them. But the longer this fight takes on, the closer that Laonu can continue to get. In fact, Laonu taking that same rotation that we saw Club 9D take on the way in.
Yeah, and actually, it looks like Club 9D got their kill stolen a little bit there by Kelvin, taking the shot to thirst the last player. Dummy was having a lot of trouble finding him, Kelvin coming in to give a helping hand to the 9D players.
What a way to announce your presence, right? Just
yeah,
hey, guys,
exactly.
we're here. And look, Laonu not even fully engaging this. They've already moved on.
Hey guys, I found him. I'm finishing him. Oh, what? The kill feed? There's another team here. Run, let's run. You can see them now running. Millsy actually got killed. He did get knocked at the start of the fight up on top of the rafters there, and nobody managed to get to him in time. So, falling a member down now. 3 kills, very nice for them, and they are actually really now starting to pick up the pace in terms of, in any way they can at the very least. Oh, nice shot from Exploit. Takes out Kelvin. They're going to have to res that one, obviously. They do have enough positional advantage to do that one. Now they can return fire. I'm not sure if Club 9D really wanted to take this fight with the man disadvantage.
But you could see them, they were setting up, watching the angles, waiting to see when Laonu came for the push, but Laonu wasted no time to get to a rooftop and have a little bit of that high ground to work with. I mean, Santi's got a beautiful line of sight there on Dami. Dami, not really out elsewhere they could go. You can see the glue wall coming up, so they try to join their teammates, but with so many watchful eyes on them, this is going to be a hard rotation around to get. And you can see it looks like Prince actually has spotted out Exploit. So conversations right now on Onu's comms, is definitely trying to stop out and stomp where Club 9D is, but you can see Exploit, Dami, were able to break away safely, at least for right now. And so Laonu once again repositioning. I can't imagine they're going to let them entirely get away for free on this.
Yeah, you really don't want to. I mean, these guys do, they need their kills. I mean, they're currently in 8th place. They're really looking to climb back up this leaderboard towards the end of today. So they really don't want to let these Club 9D players get away. Club 9D, they've been getting to the end of every game for the last 2 games now. They've been, 3rd place, 2nd place, just by sitting towards the end. You really don't want to let them get away from you in terms of placement points, especially Fallout Owner, who most of their points have come through kills, not placement.
You can see, though, La Bahia getting involved now. They've pushed back in from the south here. They've got the high ground up on the hillside. Shots into Laonu, as well as in Club 9D, who's also not free of this onslaught just then. La Bahia, another team I have watchful eyes on. They've had a big climb today, closing the gap between them and Invalidos, and they have had a very successful one thus far. So curious to see if they will continue to chase this for the kills or play this one a little bit conservative. They do have one of the more central positions for the way the circle is going right now, so no reason truly to overextend and chase Laonu out from this position, because ultimately Laonu will eventually have to work their way in this direction.
Yeah, I mean, I really do respect kind of sitting back and waiting and trying to play passively and getting yourself safe points in placement and stuff like that. But for La Bahia, who I mean, they still need to make up 31 points to get that first place over Invalidos. You're fighting against a team, not literally in this game, but in a meta sense over the whole tournament, against a team like Invalidos who just kill and kill and kill and kill and get points through just being absolutely balls to the wall, kind of just insane. I think the only way to fight fire is with fire at this point for La Bahia. They really do need to chase down these kills, stop La ONU from rotating through past them. But they need to do it quickly. They can't just sit up on top of the hill and wait, because look at this. Exploit coming in with the third party is actually going to steal one of their kills away from them, and now Invalidos are also rotating in behind them. They need to be quicker about this. You know, you can't be passive and aggressive at the same time.
Yeah, we talked about that position, the La Bahia being a really good one for the way that the circle is going. That's exactly what's happening right now. Invalidos is really pushing this position. They're kind of taking what is essentially the high ground for the center zone. And so if the longer La Bahia takes, the bigger chance they also run the risk of getting pinched. And you can see just at the top of the screen there, Invalidos is closing in the gap. The big thing I think might be helping them right now is Team Money also in this area. So this fight, has gone on long enough now that a lot of those teams that want those center positions, that like to play for the high ground, starting to knock here on the door and challenge La Bahia for this position.
Yeah, and La Bahia haven't got anything to show for it so far. They've just sat on top of this hill and stopped La ONU from getting up. But what's that getting you? Everybody else is taking your kills away from you at this point. I mean, if this fight, gets over quickly, as it usually does with Invalidos, one of these teams is going to pinch La ONU from the other side. Make sure that La Bahia isn't getting any of the spoils from their fight. So sitting up on top of this hill, it's putting pressure on the team, but it's not doing anything for you. It's just doing something against the other team, I feel like.
Blue wall's up from Axino as the nades are out and the pressure being put now onto Team Money as Invalidos chosen their next victims here for kills. I mean, remember, Invalidos knows that other teams are in the chase, and while not wanting to overly give up their position, they do also need to think about how to get scores on the board. So it looks like they will, in fact, pull back away from Team Money as the circle has continued to shift south. They don't want to waste too much time fighting here on the edge, but instead rotating to a better position that they can then keep the pressure and gatekeep. And the fact they've actually split Team Money in half right now, as you see Rubio taking those shots, is connecting, finds the knock onto Axino, but the walls are coming up, and here we go. Jury, Silence, trying to see if they can get a trade out.
Yeah, and I think La Bahia have now actually heard this noise. They're looking over that direction, but it's really Team Money that are actually capitalizing on this very well. And Invalidos have got that res back up onto Axino, but now Mex is down in place of him. La Bahia is throwing in nades towards the ONU in the meantime, but Axino coming in around the top, takes down Rubio once again, and Flacco. Viola coming in, gets the trade, very nice from him, but Jury will finish things off, and Axino, he'll get the kills for Flacco and Rubio. Wow, I mean, a brilliant bailout from Jury there.
Yeah, and they're going to have plenty of time now to get those reses, try to get that recovery. They did lose one. Meanwhile, La Bahia turn their attention back one more time to La ONU, the last player still up, Mario, but being careful around those stairs and seeing if they can find a vantage point to getting in. Now, the circle has shifted down to the south, so that member of La ONU has got no choice but to vacate this premise. And you can see Lowe's taking the fight to him, finds him, and that is it for La ONU. So this fight that really dragged on with La Bahia is going to award them 3 kills, but now they need to move again if they want to get back to center circle. And the big risk here is that it's going to take them into the clutches of Invalidos, which we talked about being the thing. You don't want to take too long in those fights and allow somebody else to take that prio position from you.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say I told you so, but they took so long getting those kills now that they're in an awkward position to try and get a nice location on this next ring. They could have finished that fight so much quicker. They know they have the firepower to win that fight. That's why they went in at the end. They didn't really have to wait that long. They were throwing grenades down sporadically, one by one, and they managed to, yes, get a knock, and that was what got them that advantage to move in. But, you've done it so late, spent 3 minutes on that fight. And everybody else has moved on in that time. You can see Fuego getting a nice position within the ring. They've driven all the way in. Droven. Not sure that's a word, but also Team Money have taken a nice location in Valados. They're aware of La Bahia on the other side of this hill. Maybe they'll capitalize on that.
This is what we were talking about. La Bahia really taking too much time again with that fight. Now Invalidos taking up to the fight to them, and you can actually see Axino seeing them, waiting for the right opportunity. The shots coming out, not quite connecting. Both teams completely aware. It actually looks like La Bahia is just going to pull away from this. They're not going to fight for this position. There's a lot of open area, not much coverage for it. And then moving forward from the circle, it's not the strongest position anymore. So I applaud them for pulling back away from this. But as we've seen all day, Invalidos, if they feel in the mood, will go for the chase. And so they need to be a little bit careful with their backside.
Yeah. Can we talk about how Domi had the fire for kill leader? Is Domi the kill leader?
Maybe.
What has he done while we've been watching these teams? What has been going on?
I guess the kill leader against Laonu.
Yeah, okay, well, okay. Everybody moves in now once again, and Valdos having to rotate through the north after getting caught out in the danger zone. But Wasaka, they're over towards the south of that ring here. It's Osaka that are moving in towards Exploit and Domi here towards these guys. It'd be interesting to see if they can get this, or if they'll fall into the clutches of the kill leaders once again.
I mean, these wide rotations where teams are trying to take to hold on to the edge, you know, in a way, Osaka probably think that, all right, well, we've cleared this area. It looks free. We haven't spotted anybody. But when you have a solo in this area, that's an easy way to snake in without getting spotted. So what's left of Clud 9D could potentially pop off there if Dami isn't spotted. Meanwhile, our other solo also coming into the similar rotation, Decathy there for R15. But it's back to the center. La Bahia pulled away from Invalidos and instead found themselves against Fuego, another team that they have been chasing on the board all day long.
Yeah, here it is. We haven't really seen a fight between La Bahia and Fuego actually in a game at this point. These are the two highest seeds coming into this one, finishing first and second in the group stage. Looks like La Bahia, they've really lost a lot of their bite over the course of the finals here, moving away once again from an engagement after losing a member. Domedios got domed by one of the Fuego members, and now they're just backing out of the fight once again. This has happened so many times that they've just, you know, reached a bit of, you know, this is, we didn't see this in group stages. They would lose a member and they'd engage in that fight. They try and get that trade and they push back in and win that fight and become kill leaders, win the game overall. I'm not quite sure what's happened to them over the past few weeks.
IT right now on 0 kills themselves, but in a good position for this zone, as well as potentially having a line of sight into Wasaka. Playing right along the edge. Circle is going to shift, and it is beautifully centered itself up right there on IT Official. Now the hard part for them, holding it against the rest of the teams that won it. You can see Wasaka now on 3 kills themselves, very carefully watching the edge. They know exactly where IT Official is, but careful not to overextend. This is actually inside this next circle, so they can hold on to this ridge line and use it to watch not only the other teams coming in, potentially pick off some edge kills, but maybe even push the backside of IT Official's compound once they start engaging. But speaking of engagements, Northblood, Fuego, it's starting.
Yeah, Northblood, it looks like they were trying to rotate in towards the bridge there, but Boss has been taken down before he can get anywhere near that, so no teammate is going to be able to res him. I think he's going to be thirsted very quickly by whatever team took him down. I didn't quite see that on the kill feed, but now they're stuck in a corner. Esteban, Elite, both stuck there. Blessed are trying to get away, but shots fire out on top of him. Lewis and Spectral actually being third-party by Invalidos from a long distance. You can see them all the way over there to the north of your mini-map. With that snipe taken down too. They're going to be able to be rezzed here on the bridge, but Fuego moving in on Northblood as well, and it's looking really harsh for these guys. A fight going on under the bridge, a fight going on over the bridge. Jeremy coming out on top in terms of kills on this fight, but I mean the rest of the players here. Oh, that's R15 Official also eliminated. So many fights going on at once. In Valdos, it looks like they've got a beautiful position. I'm just looking over every single team from here. Look at this from Silence and Jury as they knock 2 players from Osaka. There's another one from Axino, and that's a finish as well. They're going to be able to take down the whole Osaka team out of nowhere in about 2 seconds. Fuego are going to stop them from getting over this hill completely. La Bahia is eliminated by Osaka. Somehow, in Valdos, they've just found every single kill all at once. Fuego eliminated by Osaka. One remaining member in 500 being able to raise Spectral as well, but where can they go? Invalidos is completely aware of their position.
I mean, Xeno just continuing to pad those numbers for why they are the kill leader currently for the lobby, but Wasaka finding themselves an opening as well to push on to IT Official. I mean, I was curious how everybody was going to get into this circle, and it looks like they found a way to do it. Trade's coming out, though. Grazero first to get knocked down, and so is Wasaka trying to take the push. Glue wall's up right now, but IT Official continuing that pressure on. You can see shotguns are out. Grazero gets 2. Sanji, MVP's out. Antonio picks one up as well. Petrona finds the trade, but look at this. Wasaka falling apart right now. IT Official keeping it going, but Grazero, Still 4 kills up. Their reses are coming out with Saka actually able to recover. Oh, or are they? Patrona!
That! Oh my god, a brilliant grenade. That was beautiful. Turned it right back in their favor. Patrona there. I mean, his Patronus is a grenade. I don't know where that one was going. Invalidos, though, they've killed the remaining Osaka players, and now it's Invalidos versus 2 solo members here, IT official and the last team, Northblood there. I mean, Patrona trying to run away, but all 4 players of Invalidos going to hunt them down, eliminated to the ring eventually. Now it's just 1 player, Northblood, left alive, and Invalidos, they're looking like they want to end today quite happily. Silence moving in, going to find out where Blester is. The wall goes up, not being able to be taken down there, and now everyone moves in on Blester. The time turner on top of him, making it just a 4v1 in the space of nowhere. Northblood eliminated. It's a booyah once again for Invalidos.
Fitting into today's games, there was Invalidos who'd been on the top of the leaderboard throughout the day, picked themselves up the 6th booyah here. And, I gotta say, Axino, again, just brilliant play. Mex as well. Expect no less from any member of that team. But we're once again as well finding Wasaka up in those scoring chances, finding them up in the late game. It's safe to say that Bermuda has been a phenomenal scoring chance for them. The big issue, of course, is going when any of these teams get into that position where they allow Invalidos to unfortunately pop off. And that's where I think the numbers start to drop off for these teams. But Twiggy, you and we are done for the day. I'm going to throw it back one more time to the analyst desk to see what they had to say about these matches.
Invalidos, Invaliditos. No matter what you call them. Invalidoritos. No matter how you pronounce it, no matter what you call them, they're in first place. And they have added to their total with another big win here in the final game of the day. It was looking a little dicey, Hypoc, for that squad for the most part of the day. But I can't wait to see what the final leaderboard looks like. I mean, they're going to be just running away with it at this point, right?
Yeah, I think so. This is a great way to finish out. The thing to note also is Invalidos kind of slowing down a little bit. It's still the bar is so much higher than some of these other teams, right? So whilst during today we were talking about La Bahia potentially closing the gap, they finished so strong here that I don't think it's going to have a huge impact in terms of that kind of separation, at least within the top 4, top 5 teams.
You saw this was classic Invalidos, right? This was what they made all their points on yesterday. Was just going and face planting, W keying into teams in the open, having those 2 guys up front. Yep. This
was disgusting here. I think there's an argument to be made about comfort zone, comfort map here, because again, there's a visible difference, and this is much more reminiscent. By the way, Patrona has been disgusting with nades today. Just another example there, just posting one in between the glue walls here in the late game. But yeah, this was definitely I guess closer to the Invalidos of day 1. 21 points in the last game, and that's a good way to close out strong here. After they, like I said, I hate to come back to it again, but let their foot off the gas a little through the middle of today.
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, La Bahia came in here scorching through the first half of the day and then kind of fell off a little bit in the late day. Wasaka looks like they reset pretty nicely after a poor game last game and managed to collect 12 points for themselves. But in the end, does it even matter? I mean, Invalidos is just running away with it. 21 points. That is not what you wanted to see if you're Wasaka, if you're Fuego, if you're La Bahia. There you see our kill leaders from that game. Axino, Patrona. Once again, Patrona, man, you cannot take away. You touched on it a little bit with the grenades, but man, he has just been having a hell of a day for himself.
He has. I mean, with second behind only really some of the Invalidos members, to be honest with you. Obviously, we see 2 represented once again in the top 5. No surprises there whatsoever. But I'm excited to take a look at the overall leaderboard, man. See how today's finished up.
Oh, there you have it. Once again, they're back up there. That's caster math. That's 40 plus points, right? 44 points.
Yes.
44 points.
The man with a PhD.
Yeah, well, it's not in math. So they break the 100 kill point. Half the teams haven't even broken 100 points yet in the lobby. They break 108 kills, and now again, day 2 they a little bit slow, but then they still finish it much the way it began with a 40 plus point lead.
Yeah, I think actually you're right with that. It comes back to literally the gap that was at the start of the day. I think actually overall today they probably finished second in terms of total points. Just, yeah, IT official 75, Invalidos on 76. So,
Fuego.
Yeah, Fuego, I guess leading the day overall.
Yeah, Fuego. And a fantastic day for Fuego. I mean, you can't take anything away from what Fuego did today. 80. It was an absolutely Fuego day.
Fuego.
Muy.
Would you say
80.
Mucho Fuego? I think. Yeah.
Mucho Fuego. Muy Fuego.
Muy
Fuego. 84 points though. That is more like it. From that squad. And again, you were kind of sitting here looking at the 84.4 performance that these guys put out today and look at that 46 points that they got yesterday and be like, what happened, man? Was it just a case of, I think, and, you know, back me up on this, but I think a lot of these teams maybe came into the grand finals and were thinking, hey, let's play a little slow. Let's get a feel for things. And then, you know, maybe we'll play a little safer. We'll try to focus up on playing the late game, maybe breaking away from the style that got them to these grand finals in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, there's an argument to be made that in terms of placement, they're tracking actually probably only 3 points away from Invalidos. So, yes, you could say starting slow is maybe a good opportunity to get a feel of tendencies, how other teams are going to play and whatnot. But there's got to be a point where you have to implement that, right? You have to put it into practice. So, yes, a fantastic day. I mean, ultimately they will be judged by their day 3. They've kind of done the hard work now in climbing back. See if they can finish out strong.
Yep, Fuego, IT official, Osaka, all increasing their performance by a significant amount from day 1. So it's good to see those teams kind of figuring out the lobby, figuring out what was going wrong in day 1 and being able to go ahead and fix it as we check our overall kills. Axino, man, I don't think anybody's catching him, though.
No
way. Right?
I mean, I said at the top of the show today that it was looking like at least some of the bounties will be decided, and it's looking like the second might be as well. I don't think anybody, if I'm not mistaken, nobody even came close to breaking the 10 kills in one game, right? We had 8 kills in one game, if I'm not mistaken. That was actually Petrona, right?
Yeah, Petrona stepped up in a big way there. And again, we still got 6 games left to play, right? We still got tomorrow to figure out how this whole thing's going to end, although it is looking pretty damn good for Invalidos. It's looking pretty good for Axino as we see the average placement. Right now, La Bahia, this is their bread and butter, isn't it? It's getting a late game, it's getting 4 up, and then trying to get that win. The kills haven't been there, but right now, average placement bounty looking like it's pretty good for them.
Yeah, I mean, at least that this is, I guess what we were talking about at the top of the show again, the consistency has paid off for them. They've looked a little more active today, I'd say, in scenarios yesterday where we definitely saw them sit back and maybe be a little more observing, especially in those kind of crunch points within the mid game. So it's good to see that rewarded. And again, here actually, Fuego now, it's 3 teams tied up for 2 booyahs. So La Bahia potentially able to close out 2 of the bounties, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I mean, if we're being completely honest, right? Looking at 3 of those 3 La Bahia booyahs, it was 2 of them. I feel like were kind of circle gifted. Where they just kind of happen to get the late game, and look, man, we're gonna call it like it is, and but you know what? It doesn't matter. They still got them. They still got 3. But it does feel like Fuego, Invalidos, IT official, these booyahs that they got were a little bit more hard earned.
I mean, they're a very center oriented team. So again, you could make the argument that I guess the teams that play hard center of every zone. It's not as if they sit and wait for edge. It's on circle pop. These guys rotate, so in that regard, it's almost a little more comfortable to accept some of the gifted games, right? If you're positioning up, then take nothing away from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they're snaking it out and getting nothing but placement points. I mean, they still got 55 kills, which puts them in the top 5, so or top 4 actually. Yeah. So
All of
I
them.
mean, they're right there. I mean, obviously, if it hadn't been for Invalidos just doing what Invalidos has been doing, we'd be talking a lot more about La Bahia right now, and they're just consistency throughout. But you know, we've touched on it at the beginning of the show. Is that consistency going to be enough to catch up with a brightly burning comet of Invalidos?
It'll be interesting to see again in terms of day one versus day two. La Bahia actually tracking a little behind their day one performance. So, still, I think one of the things we mentioned was we definitely want to see a couple of pop off games from La Bahia where you see that booyah come through with a comfortable kill count. Again, I think in Valido's they finished a 21 kill booyah yesterday. So. We definitely haven't seen those sorts of victories out of La Bahia. And also some of the games where they are going out earlier, it's with like 2 or 3 kills versus, you know, the 8 or 9 of others. So yes, the consistency is great, but it's picking up I guess the worst games and fixing those ones that will fare them in much better stead tomorrow.
Let's take one last look at the leaderboard as we close things off today, just so you can get a good idea of how things are setting up going into our final day of play tomorrow. So Invalidos has that strong lead, but we saw them kind of falter a little bit to the first part of the day. We'll see if they do the same tomorrow, and if maybe La Bahia, Fuego, IT Official, Wasaka, even Osaka, really, if they can try to make a run here towards the end with 6 games remaining. But for now, that is going to do it for our show today. I want to thank Clover and Twiggy for the fantastic casting. Thank you, Hypoc, for joining me here on the desk. And thank all of you out there for watching. Until next time, we'll see. We'll see you next time. How about that?